Chapter 26. For Yu Figuang, it is undoubtedly an excellent opportunity to wipe out monsters. In the academy, not to mention Yu Figuang's incompetence, even if he is capable, he has no guts. After all, if the academy finds out about him, even his father will inevitably be involved. But out of the city, it's different. Whether it is arranging people to take action or creating various accidents, it is extremely convenient. Several ways to kill Wang Zibin suddenly flashed through Yu Figuang's mind: assassination, berserk monsters. Soon, because the students began to prepare for this, the news of Beixing Academy also spread. Civilian area, blacksmith shop. Dean, who received the order to forge armor, was also slightly happy in his heart. This is an opportunity to kill my good nephew. It can be said that following Karma's arrangement, Wang Zibin was immediately targeted by two groups of people. 1 month later, the entrance of Beixing Academy was extremely lively. The students who are about to participate in the elimination of monsters, the parents who come to see them off, the teachers who lead the team, the logistics personnel who accompany the team, the medical staff. All kinds of people gathered at the entrance of the academy, almost blocking the entrance. Seeing this scene, Karma felt a little annoyed. This is not like going to wipe out monsters, going through blood and fire, but like playing house, dragging the family to play. Originally, if the operation to wipe out the monsters had been arranged according to the normal time, the students who had prepared long ago, and the parents who were accustomed to it, would not have mobilized them like this at all. However, when Karma unilaterally advanced the situation, not only the students were a little caught off guard, but the parents would naturally not feel at ease about their children. Only then did the scene in front of him appear. Karma also realized this. Feeling a little annoyed, she didn't say much, but let the team set off in batches according to the scheduled time. As the best academy in White Star City, it also has a complete set of guarantee procedures for such truly dangerous activities. All students will be divided into groups. Each group consists of 3 formal night students and a leading teacher. At the same time, there will be logistics personnel responsible for handling the follow-up of the battle, medical personnel responsible for guarantee, and a group of Sky Knights including Karma responsible for supporting at any time. With such a perfect guarantee, there has been no death in Beixing Academy for several years. This is also the reason why Karma cleared the monsters ahead of time, and no students or parents had any objections. Anyway, under the condition of ensuring safety, it is better to experience these earlier. Of course, it can't be too early. After all, you need to have a certain strength to fight against monsters, otherwise it is meaningless. Soon, under Karma's arrangement, one team after another left the gate of the academy and went out of the city from different directions. That's right, this is also the characteristic of killing monsters, randomly disrupting and dispersing actions. The purpose of doing this is just for one thing: to protect the safety of the students as much as possible. Because if they gather together, act collectively, and kill too much at the same place, then it is easy to set off a riot of monsters. After all, in this world, in the final analysis, monsters occupy the majority. Inside the city is the world of humans, but outside the city is the world of Warcraft. Yu Figuang followed the teacher leading the team and left the entrance of the academy. During the period, he was talking with his companions about the upcoming battle normally, without looking left and right to find Wang Zibin. This is naturally Yu Figuang's disguise, in order not to make the academy suspect him after Wang Zibin's death. In the random chaos, it seems that Yu Figuang's revenge has become difficult. Not to mention that now, he never found Wang Zibin at all, and he didn't even know which direction Wang Zibin was going. But in fact, Yu Figuang has a plan in mind and has already made arrangements: find Wang Zibin, confirm its location, and release 2 violent second-order monsters, one to restrain the leader teacher, and the other to kill Wang Zibin. Not only that, Yu Figuang also found a killer to ensure that if the monster cannot be killed, the killer will take action secretly to ensure nothing goes wrong. As for whether the person who arranges can find Wang Zibin, Yu Figuang said that there is no need to worry at all. Because with Wang Zibin's handsome appearance, among all the students, he is absolutely outstanding, and he can be seen at a glance. At the same time, Dean in the blacksmith shop seemed to be forging the iron block in front of him with a hammer, but his mind had already drifted outside the city. There are people he arranged. However, unlike Yu Figuang, as the spy chief of the Haori Empire in Beixing City, Dean may not be able to mobilize much power inside the city, but outside the city, he can mobilize a lot of power. In every direction outside the city, Dean has arranged people from the Haori Empire to snipe and kill Wang Zibin. It can be said that as long as Wang Zibin appears, he will face a fatal blow. Hey, thinking of this, Dean let out a deep grinning laugh, even involving the wound on his face, causing his face to become even more distorted. As for why Dean was so cruel to Wang Zibin, his good nephew, on the one hand, it was to reduce the risk of exposure, and on the other hand, it had to start with the wound on Dean's face. During the days when Yu Figuang was waiting for the opportunity to kill Wang Zibin, he used an off-the-box trick very much in line with his status, which could be regarded as collecting interest in advance. That is to say, outside the college, the gangsters were arranged to find Wang Zibin's uncle, Dean's trouble. Although Yu Figuang deliberately told the gangsters to be careful in order not to alarm Wang Zibin, he only moved Dean a little bit, got a minor injury or something, and even paid for medical expenses. But for Dean, he felt a huge insult. In order to conceal his identity, Dean, who can pinch a gangster to death with one finger, was forced not to fight back when beaten, not to fight back when he was scolded, and even took the initiative to get injured on his face, so as to calm down this extraterrestrial trick. This is a typical example of little harm, but strong insult. Dean, who was insulted, suppressed the rage in his heart, and finally waited until today to get revenge on Wang Zibin by killing him. Yes, Dean didn't go to Yu Figuang, but put this note on Wang Zibin's head. Such an approach may seem strange, but it is in line with the thinking of spies. The ones that threaten you the most are the most important. Compared with Yu Figuang, whether it is talent or involvement, Wang Zibin is much more important. However, just when Yu Figuang and Dean spent a lot of manpower and material resources to set up a killing plan for Wang Zibin, an accident happened. Neither Yu Figuang nor Dean arranged for Wang Zibin to be found. So, where did Wang Zibin go? When all the formal knights of White Star Academy went out of the city to participate in the action of eliminating monsters, Wang Zibin became the only exception. Chapter 27. Outside White Star City, Karma became even more irritable when she thought of Wang Zibin in the academy. It is worth mentioning that the irritability at the entrance of the college is largely due to Wang Zibin. This morning, Wang Zibin found Karma, and gave up participating in this operation to eliminate the monsters because of physical discomfort. For Wang Zibin's temporary leave, Karma is unexpected and even more irritated, because Wang Zibin, as the person she recruited, is also quite optimistic. Asking for leave at this time, in the eyes of Karma, who had been in the army, was no different from running away. Bloodless, coward. This is Karma's subconscious view of Wang Zibin, and she can't help but wonder whether her act of recruiting Wang Zibin is correct. Fortunately, Karma restrained such thoughts, agreed to Wang Zibin's leave, and lowered his evaluation of Wang Zibin in his heart. To be honest, if it weren't for Wang Zibin's handsome face, which made Karma look pleasing to the eye, with Wang Zibin's behavior, if it were Yu Figuang, Karma would definitely slap backhand, first beat him to death, arrange for treatment, and then agree to the behavior of running away. Karma's irritability, Yu Figuang's and Dean's people's hopelessness, all because of Wang Zibin. And Wang Zibin, who has influenced many people, is meditating with his eyes closed in the dormitory of White Star Academy. In Wang Zibin's mind, increasing with each passing day is shining brightly. At this time, he is already at the stage of consummation of a second-tier mage. As time went by, Wang Zibin's full mana gradually became a little more. Overflow? No, it's full or broken. The appearance of this trace of mana directly broke the restriction of the second-tier mage, allowing Wang Zibin to step into the realm of the third-tier mage. Breakthrough, Tier 3 Mage. After several hours of meditation, Wang Zibin opened his eyes and got up from the bed. However, Wang Zibin, who broke through the third-tier mage, was not as happy as when he broke through the second-tier mage. As for why, Wang Zibin waved his hand implicitly, well, normal operation, normal operation. Indeed, compared to the unexpected joy of breaking through to the second-tier mage, the current third-tier mage is just a matter of course. Wang Zibin had expected this. Came outside the dormitory, feeling the deserted atmosphere different from usual, Wang Zibin smiled slightly. You are fighting with first-order monsters outside the city, but I have become a third-order mage. Alas, as a third-tier mage, I often seem out of tune with you because I am not mediocre enough. After a little narcissism, Wang Zibin looked into the distance, where a white mage tower stood. The only mage tower in Beixing City, the seat of the 7th-level magister. After looking at the mage tower from a distance, under the name of an unknown 7th-level magister, Wang Zibin calmed down his heart a little bit. It's only the 3rd level, and the road is still long. With the help of external force, Wang Zibin turned around and walked back to the dormitory after his slightly agitated mood calmed down. Wang Zibin, who returned to the dormitory, first drank the night's secret medicine from White Star Academy, and then practiced the corresponding moves. Under the matching movements, Wang Zibin's body was sweating very quickly, and he entered the state of exercise. This kind of efficiency far exceeds the ordinary exercise method of the civilian night academy where Wang Zibin worked. Different from the usual exercise, Wang Zibin, who was exercising today, stopped sweating after sweating, and became more and more red on the contrary. This scene is exactly the same as when Wang Zibin broke from an apprentice knight to a full-time knight. The reason why he doesn't sweat is because Wang Zibin's body has completely closed off the energy exchange with the outside world. The reason why his body became more and more red was because Wang Zibin's blood was surging violently. The power of the secret medicine he had taken before also continued to spread from Wang Zibin's abdomen to his whole body. This force, like a flame, exacerbated the temperature rise in Wang Zibin's body. At the same time, a wonderful energy surged out of Wang Zibin's body, which promoted the transformation of Wang Zibin's body. Accumulated over time. This is the effect of accumulation over time, it is the wonderful energy brought about by accumulation. A small accumulation a day, a big accumulation in a month. Gather water to form streams, gather streams to form rivers. Under the effect of accumulation, the blood energy in Wang Zibin's body broke through the limit and suddenly increased, flowing like a river. Breakthrough, second order knight. Feeling the stronger power in his body, Wang Zibin did not stop to celebrate his breakthrough, but continued to exercise and exercise. Wang Zibin didn't stop until the effect of the knight's secret medicine completely disappeared. When he came to the mirror, Wang Zibin looked at himself in the mirror and smiled proudly. Today, he successfully broke through the realm and became a third-tier mage and second-tier knight. Wang Zibin is proud of himself. For today, he didn't waste any time, filling up mage's meditation and knight's training every day. While others are enjoying themselves, Wang Zibin is doing penance. And today, it is the return and testimony of Wang Zibin's penance. God rewards hard work. Of course, for Wang Zibin to achieve such an achievement, talent is also indispensable. The so-called genius is not terrible, what is terrible is that geniuses work harder than them. Said, is Wang Zibin. After being proud of himself for a long time, Wang Zibin finally calmed down his mood and inspected his own strength. The second-order knight has nothing to say, his body is stronger. Wang Zibin's focus was brought about by becoming a third-tier mage, the third innate spell slot. Originally, Wang Zibin was still hesitant about what kind of spells to load in the third talent spell slot. After all, in a culture where there are so many flower growers, there are not too many that can be used. Even after being limited by Wang Zibin's own strength, there are not many options to choose from. But in the process of looking in the mirror just now, Wang Zibin has found the answer: heaven rewards hard work. Idiom: heaven rewards those who work hard, God will fairly reward those who work hard. It means that as long as you work hard, you will gain something. Spell: heaven rewards diligence, the harder you work, the more you will gain. After the third innate spell slot was loaded with heaven's rewards, Wang Zibin's huge mana value as a third-tier mage was barely maintained. Wang Zibin's reason for choosing heaven's rewards is very realistic. After he broke through to the second-order knight, the effect of the White Star Academy's secret medicine was relatively reduced. Because second-tier knights can graduate early at White Star Academy, it is not an exaggeration to say that there are very few who can become second-tier knights upon graduation. The students of the second-tier knights are no longer the existence that the Knight Academy in Bexing City can accommodate. Yalong, Angelica C. Generally speaking, the students of the second-tier knights either go to higher-level colleges, or step into the world and create a storm. Chapter 28. Normally, at Wang Zibin's current age, he would be directly recommended into a better academy if he had achieved the achievement of a second-level knight. There, Wang Zibin will be cultivated as a genius and enjoy the tilt of the entire empire's resources. As a border city, White Star City does not have such a college, but it also has the right to recommend it. This kind of academies are all set up in the core area of the empire, where geniuses gather and resources gather, which will undoubtedly promote Wang Zibin's growth. But Wang Zibin understood that he couldn't go, or in other words, he couldn't go now. Because he is too talented. It only took Wang Zibin a few months to go from a knight apprentice to a second-order knight. As long as he reveals this talent, he will be subject to extremely detailed investigations. And Wang Zibin does not have the legal status of the Starry Empire at all, which is very troublesome. Not to mention Wang Zibin's third-tier mage strength, once discovered, he would be truly involuntary and under control. Therefore, Wang Zibin cannot expose such a terrifying talent. Fortunately, regardless of the power of a knight or a mage, as long as it is not detected closely, without using power, the specific depth cannot be seen. As long as Wang Zibin hides his power for a longer period of time, and then reveals it, it won't appear too exaggerated, and naturally he won't receive much attention. Of course, the disadvantage of doing this is that Wang Zibin can only enjoy the existing resources of the White Star Academy, and cannot further improve efficiency. That's why Wang Zibin chose Heaven rewards those who work hard. Under Heaven rewards those who work hard, Wang Zibin can fully make up for the lack of this aspect through his own efforts. After loading up the rewards, Wang Zibin began to exercise decisively. As long as you can't die, practice to death. This will be the purpose and belief of Wang Zibin's next night training. Since there is no better resource, then Wang Zibin will use his own diligence to make up for it or even surpass it. That night, when the formal night students at the White Star Academy were happily celebrating the day's battle with the monsters, Wang Zibin exhausted all his physical strength alone, lay on the bed, and fell into a deep sleep. And when Wang Zibin fell asleep, the Heaven rewards work in his mind began to play a role. It was as if the energy bestowed by the gods gathered from all directions and poured into Wang Zibin's body, continuously strengthening his body. Wang Zibin was growing stronger silently, and a group of students were celebrating themselves, but two of them looked a little sad in the night. One is Yufei Guang, his eyes are dull, and his mouth is slightly nervous, saying something, "How? Why can't I find anyone? I don't understand that I spent so much effort to kill the game, I didn't even see a ghost." At this moment, Yufei Guang is in great pain. He lost a lot of money because of arranging these things, and because he didn't even see Wang Zibin's figure, he felt the crushing of IQ in a certain sense. No matter how good his arrangement is, Wang Zibin just won't be in the game. The other one is Dean. Dean, who failed to arrange all the arrangements, was extremely furious in his heart. But even so, Dean had to endure it abruptly and couldn't show it. The two of them counted thousands of times, but they didn't count. Wang Zibin didn't go to participate in the elimination of monsters at all, let them count to the end, and the bamboo basket fetched water in vain. This night, Wang Zibin slept soundly. Yufei Guang and Dean couldn't fall asleep. As time passed day by day, the two who were secretly waiting for an opportunity became more and more uncomfortable. Because of Wang Zibin's life circle, he never left Baxing Academy. That's all for Dean. After all, as a spy, he is very tolerant. But Yufei Guang couldn't stand it anymore. On this day, Yufei Guang once again brought his cronies and friends to surround Wang Zibin in the classroom. After many days, Yufei Guang came to Wang Zibin again, and his eyes were bloodshot. "You, come with me." The anger in Yufei Guang's words was almost uncontrollable, with a strong sense of command. If it was possible, Yufei Guang didn't want to trouble Wang Zibin right now, but just looked for an opportunity to kill him. If you are looking for trouble now, it will be difficult to do it later, because if Wang Zibin dies, the academy will be the first to suspect Yufei Guang. But because Wang Zibin didn't dare to take a chance, and didn't even leave the academy, Yufei Guang couldn't bear it any longer, and planned to beat him up first, to ease the hatred in his heart a little. Hearing Yufei Guang's commanding words, Wang Zibin calmly looked at Yufei Guang in front of him, with a flash of surprise in his eyes. "Hey? Learn to be smart." The last time Yufei Guang stood in front of him, defenseless, he was a good target. This time, even in extreme anger, Yufei Guang did not relax his body's defenses. Even at this time, Yufei Guang's muscles were tense, but he was looking forward to Wang Zibin's attack, so that he didn't even need to make excuses, and he could directly beat Wang Zibin openly. Of course, if Wang Zibin really made a move with the strength of a second-tier knight, it is estimated that Yufei Guang will be worse than last time. It's just that it's impossible for Wang Zibin to reveal his talent just because of Yufei Guang. If you use the strength of a first-order knight, but you can't hurt Yufei Guang who has long been convenient. So, Wang Zibin gave up his plan to make a move, and spit out a word again, "Roll." The same environment, the same people, and the same word "roll" made Yufei Guang burst into anger in an instant, and violently shook his fist. This punch was filled with the blood of a formal knight, and he went all out. Faced with such a punch, Wang Zibin took a step back as expected, dodged Yufei Guang's fist first, and then immediately shouted, "Report to the teacher, someone is using force. Damn it, how dare you at number %" Yu Figuang, who missed the punch with one punch, saw Wang Zibin's movement, and immediately swore another swear word while swinging another fist. Snapped. With a soft sound, Yu Figuang's fist did not hit Wang Zibin's face, but landed in a big hand. After Wang Zibin yelled that sentence, the teacher of the third-level knight came to Wang Zibin in an instant, and caught Yu Figuang's attack with one hand. Within the academy, no shots are allowed. Teacher Knight first shouted to warn the audience, then grabbed Yu Figuang's hand, violently pulled his body, and went to the dean's office. The roar of Wang Zibin, the appearance of the teacher, and the taking away of Yu Figuang, all these happenings made everyone dizzy, and it was difficult for the brain to react. The only one who reacted was probably Yu Figuang. He was violently taken away by the night teacher, and he saw the sneer on the face of Wang Zibin who stood there and watched him go. This ridicule pierced Yu Figuang's heart. Chapter 29. At Wang Zibin's ridicule, Yu Figuang instantly understood that everything that happened in front of him was under Wang Zibin's control. Whether it was words that angered him, or reporting to the teacher and letting the night teacher take him away, this was deliberately guided by Wang Zibin. Even Yu Figuang, who was taken to the office by Mr. Knight, could already think of the scene where he was punished. This scene seems familiar. Because this is the second time Yu Figuang has been deflated by Wang Zibin. If it was said that the first time was purely by surprise, Yu Figuang was punched in vain, and his face was disgraced, then this time, it was purely crushed by IQ and set up a trick. And Yu Figuang was still stunned, and plunged into it. Seeing the sneer on Wang Zibin's face, Yu Figuang felt that he was being played by Wang Zibin from the beginning to the end. Anger, unparalleled anger. Yu Fei's eyes are eager to devour people. In the past, such a gesture would only appear on Yu Figuang, but now, Yu Figuang never thought that he would be treated like this. In addition to being angry, Yu Figuang also felt mental pain. Wang Zibin, you wait for me. Yu Figuang, who was taken away by the night teacher, let out a low growl of gnashing teeth. If Wang Zibin knew what Yu Figuang was thinking at this time, he would laugh dumbfounded. Compared with Yu Figuang's self-imposed content, Wang Zibin didn't think so much at all. His principle in dealing with problems is not to waste time. It doesn't matter whether he punched before, didn't go to kill the monsters, or called the teacher now, it's all Wang Zibin's actions to save time. As for what Yu Figuang thinks, playing between him and the palm is not what Wang Zibin does. For a long time, Wang Zibin's core practice is to kill. Rather than solving problems, Wang Zibin prefers to solve people who create problems. In fact, Yu Figuang should be thankful. Fortunately, he has been acting in secret all along, and did not come out to cause trouble for Wang Zibin, otherwise Wang Zibin would have thought about how to get rid of him long ago. You know, for a mage, especially a black mage like Wang Zibin, it is not too easy to kill someone. The reason why Wang Zibin can tolerate Yu Figuang at present is that every time Yu Figuang appears, there is an easier solution to the problem, which does not require the power of a mage. In the office of the Dean of White Star Academy, after listening to Teacher Knight's report, Kama looked at Yu Figuang expressionlessly. Under Kama's gaze, Yu Figuang was like a quail, wanting to bury his head in his chest. Don't look at his various rages towards Wang Zibin, it's all because in his heart, Wang Zibin is just a lucky commoner, just a bottom-ranked first-order knight. And Kama, who is a fifth-order sky knight, and the daughter of Baxing City Lord, let alone Yu Figuang, even if his noble father comes, he can only bow his head. Seeing Yu Figuang like this, Karma felt slightly angry. Earlier, because of the beating of Yu Figuang, she felt ashamed, and she moved ahead of the college's action to eradicate monsters. Now that Yu Figuang's arrival made her feel ashamed again. Karma always thinks about things in the college from the perspective of the dean. Compared with Wang Zibin who was admitted later, Yu Figuang who has been studying is more like her student. Therefore, watching his students take the initiative to pick things up not only failed, but instead became the disadvantaged party, Karma felt a little bit of hatred and shame. Fortunately, even though Karma was angry, she would not show it to Yu Figuang. After punishing him, she let him leave. After Yu Figuang left, Karma lowered his evaluation of Wang Zibin again. In the face of Yu Figuang's attack, Wang Zibin did not choose to fight, but reported to the teacher. Although such an approach was legal, it did not conform to the knight's blood. Originally, when Wang Zibin punched Yu Figuang earlier, Kama felt that Wang Zibin was quite bloody, but Wang Zibin first asked for leave when he was clearing up the monsters, and now he chose to report to the teacher, so Kama lowered his evaluation twice in a row. The continuous reduction in evaluation brought about Karma's alienation from Wang Zibin. Originally, Karma would care about Wang Zibin's college life at regular intervals, but since then, she has stopped asking. However, Wang Zibin's treatment has not changed, but after the lack of Karma's intervention, the night teachers who were very polite to Wang Zibin have become lukewarm. The practitioners acted quickly and isolated Wang Zibin more and more. Even the female students who used to like to hang out with Wang Zibin are no longer so enthusiastic. Compared with the beauty they can't get, reality is more important. In this regard, Wang Zibin is happy to see the results. In the case of the same salary, he has more time without the worries of female students. Under such circumstances, after accepting the punishment, Yu Figuang did not hide his resentment, and often stared at Wang Zibin like a vicious dog. After being punished once, Yu Figuang became smarter. He didn't bark or make trouble, but was ready to bite Wang Zibin anytime. It's a pity that Yu Figuang really didn't have any chance in the academy. So Yu Figuang decided to collect more interest while staring at Wang Zibin. That's right, Yu Figuang thought of Wang Zibin's uncle Dean again. Compared with the academy, Dean in the civilian area is much easier to clean up. Yu Figuang, who thought of it, immediately arranged a wave of gangsters and beat Dean. Not only that, but Dean seemed to have found some kind of channel to vent, letting the gangsters teach Dean a lesson every now and then. Although Yu Figuang's approach was a bit clever, Dean was slightly injured every time he hit him, and he paid for the medical expenses, which was reasonable, and it was impossible for Dean to report to the police. However, it is unbearable for anyone to get new injuries before their old injuries heal, and to be beaten up for no reason, even for Dean, who has always been known for his tolerance. Dean, who was beaten every now and then, endured it once, twice, 3 times, until he was beaten for the 4th time. He couldn't bear it anymore. This time, Dean finally put the account on Yu Fei's bald head. As for Wang Zibin's side, it has long been a dead end, and only one chance is waiting. Arrangements were made that day after Dean had finished his accounts. Unlike Wang Zibin, who has been staying in the academy and not giving him a chance, Yu Figuang often leaves the academy and hangs around various entertainment venues. Hey, it's like a brothel, gambling house or something. This undoubtedly means giving Dean the opportunity in front of him. On a dark and stormy night, Yu Figuang had just come out of the casino, and with a small win, his face was flushed and he walked on the street swaggeringly. Suddenly, a thin figure stopped in front of him, opening his mouth to rob. Whenever the domineering Yu Figuang was robbed by someone, he immediately went into a rage. Chapter 30, Dog Eats Dog. Yu Figuang, who made the shot, was very confident in his skills. He has seen blood, coupled with perfect night training, and his physical fitness, which is not weak among formal knights, is very strong. However, Yu Figuang was knocked to the ground after only one meeting. Even before Yu Figuang had time to reveal his identity, he was beaten unconscious by the robbers. When Yu Figuang woke up, there was only a pair of underpants left, and he was lying face down on the ground, surrounded by people watching the theater. And the severe pain from his right leg made him scream like a pig being slaughtered. Only then did someone recognize Yu Figuang and help him contact his family. On that day, the news in Baxing Academy went crazy. Yu Figuang was robbed by a passing knight, not to mention all his money, and his leg was broken. Every student who talked about this news had a gloating smile on the corner of his mouth. Unlucky people are common, but unlucky people like Yu Figuang are really rare to see. In itself, although Baxing City is located at the border, there are many people passing by, but it is rare to see a ruthless person like robbing Yu Figuang, who not only robs money, but also breaks his legs. Coincidentally, it was such misfortune that Yu Figuang happened to meet him. This matter was settled in the end. After all, they were just passing by, not to mention that there was no homicide. Even if Yu Figuang's father exerted pressure, nothing was found. Wang Zibin watched Yu Figuang come to class with a limp leg. Even though he knew it was not kind, he couldn't help but smile. No way, who made Yu Figuang come to trouble Wang Zibin twice? This smile, Wang Zibin really can't help it. Wang Zibin's smile was naturally taken by Yu Figuang as adding insult to injury, and he became more and more angry. But, Yu Figuang, who Wang Zibin had nothing to do, could only be incompetent and furious. When Yu Figuang limped to school, Dean, with many scars on his face, was happily beating iron blocks in the blacksmith shop. If Wang Zibin can know the injuries of Yu Figuang and Dean at the same time, then Wang Zibin, who knows that Dean has hidden his identity, must be able to deduce the cause and effect of the two injuries. Moreover, Wang Zibin also commented without hesitation, dog bites dog, mouth hair. No, both of them were vicious dogs that wanted to bite Wang Zibin, but until now, Wang Zibin hadn't suffered any harm, and the two of them bit each other instead. If everything continues as usual, it is foreseeable that Yu Figuang and Dean will bite each other more times. However, the arrival of a person broke the calm situation and made Yu Figuang a little overjoyed. A luxurious carriage engraved with the badge of the White Star City Lord and pulled by two first-tier monster horned horses came from the core area of the Starry Empire and slowly drove into White Star City. Wherever the carriage passes, everyone avoids it, even the nobles. Being able to use a horse-drawn carriage with the horns of a first-order monster already shows the dignity of his status, let alone the badge of the White Star City Lord on the carriage. In White Star City, this luxury carriage can almost go sideways. The luxurious carriage traveled all the way and arrived at the City Lord's mansion unimpeded. At the gate of the City Lord's mansion, Karma was already standing there, as if to greet her. The carriage stopped, and a young man jumped out of the carriage, landed in front of Karma, and said respectfully, "Auntie, I'm back." Karma looked at her nephew in front of her, with a rare smile on her face. "Xiao Xing, it's good to come back." Li Xing is a young man, Karma's nephew. It is worth mentioning that Li Xing and Karma are not really related by blood, but the son of Karma's comrade in arms. A few years ago, Karma and his comrades participated in a tragic battle, and the comrades died on the spot in order to cover Karma. Before dying, his comrade in arms entrusted his son Li Xing to Karma. The injury on Karma's face also came from that battle. Facing the protection of his comrades, Karma, who was injured, left the army, took Li Xing to Beixing City, and began to raise him. For Li Xing, Karma does not say that he treats him as his own, but also provides the best resources. Li Xing's return now is because Karma used his relationship to send Li Xing as an auditor to a better college in the core area of the empire to study for a period of time. With Li Xing's return, there was a lot of trouble inside Beixing Academy. The vast majority of people are unhappy, because Li Xing can be said to be the school bully of Beixing Academy, relying on Karma's pampering, not to mention doing whatever he wants, but causing trouble everywhere. However, there are a small number of people who are secretly happy. These people are obviously Li Xing's cronies. After Li Xing left, they lost their eldest brother and were forced to restrain themselves. Now that Li Xing has returned, they have already expected a good life. Among these people, the happiest is none other than Yu Figuang. He, Yu Figuang, Li Xing's #1 henchman, thought that Li Xing was guarding his family. This is why, in Beixing Academy, Yu Figuang was the first person to attack Wang Zibin. Besides, in Yu Figuang's view, there is nothing he can do about Wang Zibin in the academy, but Li Xing is different. White Star Academy is nominally owned by the Empire, but in fact it can be regarded as belonging to the White Star City Lord, and now Karma is in charge. If you round it up, it can be counted as Li Xing's family. Therefore, Li Xing's stay at Beixing Academy is equivalent to his own home. What Yu Figuang can't do, Li Xing can do. On Li Xing's first day back at Beixing Academy, Yu Figuang, who was limping, couldn't wait to post it, and opened his mouth to say the words to teach Wang Zibin a lesson. However, before Yu Figuang could speak, Li Xing noticed Yu Figuang's lame leg first, and asked with a strange expression, "Why is your leg limping?" As soon as Li Xing opened his mouth, without Yu Figuang answering, the people around him rushed to tell the news that Yu Figuang was robbed. As soon as he finished listening, Li Xing laughed out of joy. Immediately afterwards, someone talked about the grievances between Yu Figuang and Wang Zibin, which made Li Xing laugh even more. Li Xing, who burst into tears with laughter, patted Yu Figuang and said with a smile, "My good brother, even a commoner can't handle it, you can't. Take care of your legs quickly, stand up, and go get the place back. Come on, I like you." After that, everyone burst into laughter again. Only Yu Figuang, who caused a big laugh, had an extremely bitter smile on his face. The meaning in Li Xing's words couldn't be more obvious: he won't end the game himself, and shoot Wang Zibin. This made Yu Figuang, who had the idea of borrowing a knife to kill someone in his heart, unable to speak directly. It seems that we can only find an opportunity in the future. Yu Figuang, who was wryly smiling, thought depressedly. The return of Li Xing immediately made Wang Zibin's peaceful penance life turbulent. Chapter 31. Wang Zibin, come out. In front of Wang Zibin's dormitory, Kathy stood at the door and shouted. Not far away, a group of students from the White Star Academy chatted excitedly, discussing and watching the excitement at the same time. In the dormitory, Wang Zibin was doing the movements matching the secret medicine in a smooth manner, without the slightest idea of going out. It's not that Wang Zibin is rude, but this kind of barking has happened 3 times. When Kathy came to the door for the first time, Wang Zibin thought that although he was eaten tofu last time, he was welcomed by many night academies. Wang Zibin knew that he had accepted Kathy's kindness. So Wang Zibin at that time interrupted his night training and walked out of the dormitory. Originally, Wang Zibin thought that Kathy would go to the Three Treasures Hall if she had nothing to do, and if she needed help, he would help her. But what he didn't expect was that Kathy didn't come to ask him for help, but to chat with him. After chatting with Kathy, Wang Zibin sent her away. A few days later, Kathy came to the door again. This time Wang Zibin still walked out of the dormitory, chatted with Kathy, and walked around the college by the way. At that time, Wang Zibin felt the strange eyes of the students he met and the gossip he heard, and he understood, with Kathy's arrival, it's really a trip to the Three Treasures Palace. It's just that Kathy didn't say it clearly, but created an atmosphere of good relationship with Wang Zibin through small talk. To put it bluntly, it is to use Wang Zibin as a tool man and a shield. After understanding this, Wang Zibin did not get angry, but silently wiped away Kathy's kindness in his heart. If you have a grudge, you must avenge it, and if you have a favor, you must repay it. He, Wang Zibin, although he doesn't talk too much, he has no regrets. Cheap Uncle Dean used him as a tool man, and Wang Zibin was at ease as a tool man, never thinking of exposing anything in the past. Kathy now treats him as a tool, and Wang Zibin only treats him as repaying the original kindness. After all, Kathy got an olive branch from the Academy of Noble Knights, and thus received a personal gift from karma. Therefore, even if it is used as a shield, Wang Zibin will not get angry. However, at the time of parting, Wang Zibin, who had repaid the debt, also formally proposed to Kathy that she should not come to see him again. Now the 3rd time the door is called, it is undoubtedly that Kathy ignored Wang Zibin's words. Therefore, Wang Zibin carried out the night training on his own, and also treated Kathy as heir. Kathy's arrival naturally has a purpose. Speaking of which, it is also related to karma. Karma has always let Li Xing pursue Kathy, so as to win over the deputy city lord. Originally, since Kathy used Wang Zibin to play karma last time, she never came to look for Wang Zibin again. But with Li Xing's return, Kathy, who was stalked by Li Xing again, was so annoyed that she thought of Wang Zibin again. And compared to Li Xing, Kathy finds Wang Zibin more pleasing to the eye. No, to be precise, Wang Zibin was already pleasing to the eye, but now Kathy felt that she could even lower her standards a bit, not caring about Wang Zibin's identity and strength as a commoner. Under normal circumstances, when she came to the door for the 2nd time, facing Wang Zibin's refusal, Kathy would not look for Wang Zibin in such a boring way. But Kathy came here because she has more affection for Wang Zibin. Maybe it's Wang Zibin's distinctive rejection of her, maybe it's the temperament Wang Zibin exudes, maybe it's Wang Zibin's arrogant appearance. In short, Kathy, who has more good feelings, came for the 3rd time. It has to be said that Kathy, who dares to love and hate, just doesn't care about other people's eyes, and stands there confidently, allowing other students to point secretly. However, after 10 minutes passed, the door of Wang Zibin's dormitory was still not opened. Something unexpected happened to Kathy. In Kathy's mind, she had condescended to come here, and had waited for Wang Zibin for a while, enough for Wang Zibin to open the door with face. What she didn't expect was that Wang Zibin really didn't open the door and come out, which means he didn't give her face at all. Wang Zibin, are you really not coming out? Kathy shouted again, with a little emotion in her tone. Even the students watching the excitement could hear this little emotion. So much so that these students stopped talking one after another, and couldn't help becoming nervous. Watching the fun is watching the fun, and when Kathy really got serious, they also panicked. After all, Kathy is the youngest daughter of the deputy city lord of White Star City, a real top nobleman. Another 10 minutes passed, but the door still didn't open, and Wang Zibin didn't come out either. The atmosphere in front of the dormitory gradually became tense, and the students' breathing became smaller and smaller. Kathy moved. Good. After saying the word good with an unknown meaning, Kathy turned around and walked out of White Star Academy without looking back. No one could understand the meaning of the word good at the end of Kathy, but this did not prevent the students from interpreting it, it's over, it's over, Wang Zibin is probably remembered by Kathy, bad luck. I think Kathy is probably more interested in Wang Zibin. It's hard to dislike Kathy for rejecting her so forcefully. I think Kathy has completely given up. Under Kathy's ambiguous yes, all the students interpreted it in various ways, but all kinds of news came out, which reached Li Xing's ears. Kathy came to the door 3 times and said good news, which made Li Xing's face pale. Anyone who sees the woman he is chasing has an intimate relationship with other men will feel bad. Not to mention Li Xing, who has always regarded Kathy as his goal. Li Xing knows his status. Although he has enjoyed Karma's care, he is not of blood after all, and his status is difficult to stabilize. And if he marries Kathy, then it is equivalent to having the support of the deputy city lord behind him, and his position will naturally be stabilized. Therefore, starting from all aspects, Kathy is determined to win. Li Xing, who heard such news, was ashen-faced as it should be. However, even so, Li Xing was not stupid. He didn't attack immediately, but kept Wang Zibin in his heart while sticking to Kathy. Obviously, Wang Zibin's peaceful life is full of waves. And once the waves are set off, it will be difficult to calm down. Only 5 days later, Kathy came to White Star Academy again. This time, Kathy's arrival was premeditated, blocking Wang Zibin directly in the classroom. Moreover, Kathy did not come alone, she was accompanied by a formal female knight student. This female student is an acquaintance of Wang Zibin. Li Ro, a commoner female student from the 3rd Knight Academy of Beixing City. Chapter 32. The arrival of Kathy with Li Ro has a profound meaning, and even has a feeling of showing off her might. At this moment, Li Ro, obviously as Kathy's follower, accompanied Kathy step by step. With the same commoner status and the same strength as an official knight, Kathy's purpose with Li Ro is self-evident. Look, your identity and strength are the same as my follower. Wang Zibin, who was blocked, could understand what Kathy meant the moment he saw Li Ro. Kathy is using Li Ro to show her own nobility. Undoubtedly, this is a better insult than direct ridicule, and perhaps a glass-hearted person will be shattered in an instant. Unfortunately, for Wang Zibin, such a method was too clumsy, so clumsy that he didn't want to respond at all. Wang Zibin ignored Kathy and Li Ro, went straight out of the classroom and headed for the dormitory. Surprisingly, Kathy didn't have any intention to stop her, she didn't even speak, just watched Wang Zibin leave silently. Sometimes it is better not to speak than to speak. Kathy knew that her goal had been achieved. Wow, Kathy is really chasing after Wang Zibin. This is the 4th time I've come to him. TCH, isn't he handsome? Heh, what's the use of being handsome? I'm about to be unlucky. In the discussion of the students, Kathy can be regarded as completely erecting the shield of Wang Zibin. If we say that the first 2 visits were just for Kathy to use Wang Zibin's handsome face as a shield by the way, then Kathy, who was cut off for the 3rd time, immediately turned from a slight liking to a dislike. This 4th door-to-door visit completely showed a posture of chasing back, using Wang Zibin as Kathy's shield. It is also a shield, the difference is that when Kathy has a good impression, she will make a move according to the situation. And in the case of disgust, not only would Kathy not make a move, but she would push Wang Zibin like now. Kathy, dare to love, dare to hate. Watching Wang Zibin's back go away, Kathy sneered inwardly, a mere commoner dares to reject me. From the beginning to the end, Kathy did not treat people of the same status as Wang Zibin. In Kathy's eyes, Wang Zibin, who is used as a shield, must have a painful life in the future, because he can't stop Li Xing's tricks. Almost everyone present held the same point of view and looked at Wang Zibin with pity. Only Li Ro felt a completely different feeling from Wang Zibin, aloof. Maybe not so appropriate. Confidence, but not enough to express. Perhaps, only a sentence known to Wang Zibin can express Li Ro's vague feeling at this time, the chick knows the ambition of the swan. It is this sentence that is most in line with Wang Zibin's state at this time. Whether it's the self-righteous Kathy or the other students watching the fun, how can these chicken birds understand Wang Zibin's ambition when they are living in their own world? With Wang Zibin's current strength alone, it is enough to look down on people like Kathy. And the aristocratic status they have, Wang Zibin is even more despised. A noble in a mere city, that's all. Back in the dormitory, Wang Zibin put all this behind and started to exercise. But today's incident has set off even bigger waves. At the entrance of the Beixing City gambling house, the people from the casino respectfully sent Li Xing out. Li Xiao, go slowly at this time, Li Xing was penniless, and it could be said that he had lost everything, but he still received great respect from the gambling house. It's not because the gambling house welcomes Li Xing, a boy who is good at money, but out of respect for karma behind Li Xing. To be honest, if it wasn't for fear of going too far, the casino would even want Li Xing to win a lot of money every time he came. However, as a legal gambling house in Bexing City, the rules inside are also very strict: no borrowing, no cheating. The former prevents the gamblers from ruining their families, and the latter serves as the justice of the gambling house. This is also the key to the legality of the casino. Li Xing, who lost everything, left the gambling house a little depressed. After walking not far, Li Xing watched Yu Figuang trot over. It's terrible, brother Xing, you are about to be robbed. Under Yu Figuang's embellishment, Kathy came to look for Wang Zibin's affairs, and almost put a green hat on Li Xing. Li Xing, who heard the news, was even more depressed. But he is still rational, so it is impossible for him to listen to Yu Figuang's words, because these days, Yu Figuang always takes Wang Zibin's eye drops when he has nothing to do. After listening too much, Yu Figuang also lowered his feeling, only more depressed. Do you have any money? Li Xing, who was addicted to gambling, changed the subject and said, lend me some. Yu Figuang looked at the gambling house not far away, and knew the reason why Li Xing borrowed money. And Yu Figuang also knew that he said he was borrowing money, but the money was always borrowed but never repaid. If it was before, it would be fine, Yu Figuang would take out the money without saying a word, but these days, because of the arrangement for Wang Zibin, Yu Figuang was really short of money. Fortunately, after hearing the words, Yu Figuang's face was embarrassed, and in a flash of inspiration, he thought carefully and said, Brother Xing, you know that I have been very unlucky recently, and I have lost a lot. The only time I made a big profit, I was robbed. But I do know where I can get money. Yu Figuang talked about Wang Zibin taking an ancient sealed product cube from the treasure house of the city lord. If you want to say why Yu Figuang keeps it in mind, it has to be said that Yu Figuang has been waiting for Wang Zibin to sell this cube outside. But until now, Yu Figuang didn't wait for Wang Zibin to walk out of the academy, so he naturally knew that the cube was still in Wang Zibin's hands. Hearing Yu Figuang's words, Li Xing was slightly moved, but he still didn't want to be regarded as someone else's knife. Seeing Yu Figuang who was moved by Li Xing, he immediately hit the railroad while it was hot. Brother Xing, what can Wang Zibin do to get the treasure from the city lord's treasury? The treasury of the city lord, it belongs to your family. What he took is yours. With such a final word, Li Xing was finally completely moved. In addition, Wang Zibin has always been like a thorn in Li Xing's heart. With such an excuse, he just took advantage of it. At this moment, Li Xing finally made up his mind to attack Wang Zibin. It's just that of course Li Xing wouldn't openly come to the door like Yu Figuang, looking for trouble openly. Li Xing made a good excuse, I want to see what Wang Zibin brought from the Santos treasury. Even Li Xing's plan is good, Wang Zibin borrowed it, so this item must have been borrowed but not returned. If Wang Zibin doesn't borrow it, then Li Xing can take the opportunity to make trouble again, even without giving him Li Xing's face. To borrow or not to borrow, Li Xing has already thought about how to concoct Wang Zibin. Chapter 33. Boom. In front of the door of Wang Zibin's dormitory, Yu Figuang hammered the door vigorously, wishing he could break the door and said, Wang Zibin, open the door. Brother Xing is here to find you. The loud noise startled everyone in the other dormitories, and they opened the door angrily, ready to scold those who disturbed them. However, seeing that it was Li Xing and Yu Figuang, their anger dissipated instantly. And after seeing Li Xing and Yu Figuang standing at the door of Wang Zibin, they showed expressions of watching the show again. To be honest, they have been waiting for this scene for a long time. Kathy's arrival almost heralds the inevitability of this scene. Open the door! Open the door! Yu Figuang roared. A minute passed, and the door did not move at all. Damn it, Brother Xing is standing at the door, and you don't even open the door. 3 minutes passed, and Yu Figuang became irritable. Open the door! Wang Zibin, open the door if you have the guts. 10 minutes passed, and Yu Figuang's voice became hoarse. The students who were about to watch a good show also changed from being enthusiastic at the beginning to now having no fun. Obviously, even if Yu Figuang broke his throat, Wang Zibin would not open the door. That is to say, facing the arrival of Yu Figuang and Li Xing, Wang Zibin didn't accept the call at all, so naturally there was no excitement to watch. Li Xing's face also changed from smiling to expressionless. Looking at the door of the dormitory in front of him, Li Xing knew that as long as he used the power of the night, it could be broken at any time. But, he can't do this. Breaking into the academy without a valid reason is equivalent to breaking into a private house, which is a taboo at any time. After all, no one would want the house they live in to be broken into. Li Xing did not dare to commit this taboo. And being unable to break the door means that as long as Wang Zibin does not open the door, then Li Xing and Yu Figuang can only stay outside the door. Li Xing naturally understood this, and after being rejected, he suppressed his fury, turned around and left. It is useless to stay in vain, we will wait and see in the future. When Wang Zibin dealt with Li Xing with the simplest closed door, which made Li Xing's plan come to nothing, Li Xing had already decided to really attack Wang Zibin. And it's still the kind of hands-on that doesn't look for reasons. This time Wang Zibin dodged, and Li Xing made the next move. He didn't believe it, Wang Zibin escaped the first day of junior high school, and could escape the 15th day. And in Li Xing's heart, although the closed door this time hurt his face, but from another perspective, why didn't Wang Zibin not give him face? In this way, even if Li Xing takes action against Wang Zibin in the future, it seems reasonable. Yu Figuang watched Li Xing leave without saying a word, secretly happy in his heart. Wang Zibin, oh Wang Zibin, this time you played yourself to death. Do you think that Li Xing, like me, dare not do anything in the academy? From Yu Figuang's point of view, Wang Zibin's closed door might be useful to him, but to Li Xing, not only was it useless, but it further intensified the conflict. Of course, Yu Figuang was extremely happy about this. Now Yu Figuang knew that Li Xing's fire was already raging without fanning the flames himself. After Li Xing and Yu Figuang left, the students watching the bustle looked at the door of Wang Zibin's dormitory one by one, showing either pity or gloating, before entering their own dormitory. In their minds, Wang Zibin, who dared not open the door, should be shivering in the dormitory at this time. However, in fact, Wang Zibin in the dormitory is sitting on the bed and meditating. The arrival of Yu Figuang and Li Xing, Wang Zibin is very clear. But so what? Could it be that Wang Zibin interrupted his meditation and opened the door for these two unrelated people? Of course it's impossible. At present, in the entire White Star Academy, only Karma will receive such treatment. As for Yu Figuang and the like, Wang Zibin may consider playing with them when there is no business to do, but when there is business to do, Wang Zibin will simply ignore them. Even the intensification of the contradiction Yu Figuang thought of, in Wang Zibin's view, it was just a joke. The contradictions in their eyes are not even qualified to be put in Wang Zibin's heart. Of course, Li Xing and the others don't think so. The next day, Wang Zibin was in the classroom and was surrounded again. This is the third time I have been surrounded. Whether it is Wang Zibin or the students onlookers, they all seem to be getting used to it. But there is no way, as far as Wang Zibin's activity area is concerned, only the classrooms where cultural classes are required can be the easiest way to surround him. After being surrounded, Wang Zibin looked calmly at the two righteous masters in front of him. One was Yu Figuang, he was full of joy, his expression was arrogant. Wang Zibin, yesterday, you dare not open the door. Don't you know it's my brother Xing who came to look for you? You don't give me face. I'm afraid you have eaten the heart of a bear and the guts of a leopard. Yu Figuang's posture fully demonstrated what it means to be arrogant. Wang Zibin was not surprised by this, but looked at Li Xing again. Compared with Yu Figuang's dog-legged posture, Li Xing appeared to be more elegant, tall and straight, unsmiling, just standing there, against the backdrop of Yu Figuang, gave people a noble feeling. In terms of status, among the students present, Li Xing is indeed the noblest. Seeing Li Xing's gesture, the onlookers were quite surprised. Li Xing was not like this in the past. He who can leave a notoriety in the academy is the same as Yu Figuang. How should I put it? Even if the two of them get together, it will give people a feeling that there is not much difference, even if Li Xing's status is much higher than Yu Figuang. To put it bluntly, it was because Li Xing was suddenly picked up by karma to take care of him, which was equivalent to getting rich overnight, which caused his temperament to not keep up. What they didn't know was that because of this, karma directly sent Li Xing to a better college in the core area for further studies. There, without karma's care, Li Xing is like a bumpkin from the countryside, and he can no longer be arrogant. In just a few months of study, Li Xing also learned some words and deeds of the young and old over there under the influence of his ears and eyes. What everyone is seeing now is Li Xing's learning results. It is worth mentioning that when Karma welcomed Li Xing, she was very satisfied with Li Xing's gesture. Li Xing, who is like a young man, said with a smile when Wang Zibin looked over, "Wang Zibin, I heard that you are quite capable, why don't we communicate?" Under the onlookers of the students, Li Xing changed his original rhetoric, appearing polite. However, the core meaning is still the same, which is to beat Wang Zibin. Hearing this, Wang Zibin didn't answer the call, but looked around. The back view of Mr. Knight walking out quickly, in such a scene, is particularly conspicuous. Chapter 34. Wang Zibin's movements made other students follow Wang Zibin's gaze. At this time, they all saw the hurried back of Mr. Knight. Obviously, Mr. Knight showed with his actions that he didn't want to get involved in this muddy water. This is very different from the last time when Yu Figuang surrounded Wang Zibin. Last time, Karma didn't alienate Wang Zibin, and the night teachers were very polite to him. This time, not to mention that Karma no longer pays attention to Wang Zibin, even the main owner has been replaced by Li Xing. Therefore, the departure of Teacher Knight is reasonable. Seeing the departure of Teacher Knight, all the students looked at Wang Zibin with more compassion. Without the support of Mr. Knight, the rules of the college are dispensable. The smile on Li Xing's face became even brighter. Without Teacher Knight present, wouldn't everything be his decision? Yu Figuang obviously realized this, and said arrogantly, "Wang Zibin, let's go, what are you waiting for? No one will come to rescue you." Indeed, at this time, no one will come to rescue Wang Zibin, because even if he yells to report to the teacher, it is useless. After all, the night teacher has already run away. After Yu Figuang finished speaking, Wang Zibin was silent for a moment. At present, it seems that there is no external force that can quickly solve the troubles in front of us. In other words, in order not to waste his time, Wang Zibin could only do it himself. After thinking about the time secretly in his heart, Wang Zibin felt that it had been so long, and the strength of the second-tier knight was exposed, so he shouldn't look so genius. Thinking of this, Wang Zibin has decided not to hide the strength of his second-tier knight. But the shot is the shot. Wang Zibin doesn't want to take the initiative to violate the academy's regulations. So after a moment of silence, Wang Zibin gave an answer that shocked everyone, "I don't go." Then, before Yu Figuang could react, Wang Zibin said again, "Get out of the way, good dogs don't get in the way." The onlookers were the first to react, and there was only one thought in their minds, "I'm afraid this guy has a brain hole?" In this case, don't choose to be beaten up to eliminate disasters. On the contrary, it is positive and rigid, and it also intensifies the conflict. Yu Figuang also reacted, being scolded as a dog by Wang Zibin. His anger exploded in an instant, his eyes were blood red and he waved his fist at Wang Zibin's face. "UFG dare to scold me." In almost identical scenes, Yu Figuang is full of confidence. This time, absolutely no teacher knight jumped out to block his fist. In other words, with this punch, he was finally able to fulfill his longing for day and night, hitting Wang Zibin's handsome face. At this moment, Yu Figuang seemed furious, but in fact he was ecstatic. But at this time, it is too late to say, but then it is fast. Wang Zibin tilted his head and easily dodged Yu Figuang's disfiguring punch. And while dodging, Wang Zibin clenched his fist with his left hand, gathered blood and punched Yu Figuang's abdomen with half a step. Puff! Yu Figuang, who was ecstatic in his heart, flew upside down in an instant, and opened his mouth to spurt out a big mouthful of blood. With one punch, Yu Figuang was seriously injured. This is still a punch that Wang Zibin deliberately collected a lot of blood. In the process of punching, Wang Zibin suddenly realized that if he used all his strength, then Yu Figuang would die. Therefore, Wang Zibin could only be forced to gather his blood energy to prevent Yu Figuang from being punched to death by him. "You dare!" The moment Yu Figuang was hit by Wang Zibin, Li Xing, like a young man, no longer cared about the disguise, and subconsciously shot at Wang Zibin. As the saying goes, beating a dog depends on the owner. Wang Zibin slapped Yu Figuang in front of Li Xing, didn't he just slap him in the face? Therefore, at this moment, Li Xing's true nature was exposed, he did not think at all, and made a move. But Li Xing shot quickly, but Wang Zibin was faster. Wang Zibin, who had expected this scene a long time ago, raised his right hand and swung it out. In full view, before Li Xing's hand touched Wang Zibin's right hand drew an afterimage in the air, and slapped Li Xing's face forcefully. Snapped! The huge applause not only knocked Li Xing down, but also hit the hearts of all the onlookers. In an instant, everyone in the classroom stopped breathing. It was extremely quiet, and a needle could be heard. If Wang Zibin punched Yu Figuang, it was still within the comprehension of the students. After all, it was not the first time. However, Wang Zibin dared to take a shot at Li Xing, and still slapped Li Xing on the face, which not only broke the imagination of all the students, made them unbelievable, but also frightened their minds to go blank. This is Li Xing, the student with the highest status in Beixing City. This is Beixing Academy, Li Xing's territory. Even Li Xing didn't turn the corner in his mind at this time. Yes, he is Li Xing. In Beixing Academy, there are still people who dare to attack him. To be honest, when Li Xing shot Wang Zibin subconsciously, he never thought that Wang Zibin dared to fight back. Therefore, without any precautions or preparations, Li Xing was slapped by Wang Zibin and fell to the ground. You! Li Xing, who was slapped to the ground, covered his swollen face and looked at Wang Zibin incoherently. Anger, humiliation, accident. A series of emotions intertwined in Li Xing's heart, so that he didn't know what to do for a while. Perhaps the next moment, Li Xing would react, get up angrily, and rush towards Wang Zibin. But Wang Zibin obviously wouldn't give him this chance, and Wang Zibin, who slapped Li Xing, walked out of the classroom as if he had just slapped a fly. No one reacted until Wang Zibin's figure disappeared into the classroom. On that day, the news that happened in the classroom spread outward at a terrifying speed. White Star City Noble Knight Academy. Li Ro quickly came to Kathy's side and reported the news to Kathy. Li Ro has been accepted by Kathy as a retainer, responsible for collecting information about Wang Zibin. After hearing the news, Kathy showed unbelievable eyes. Wang Zibin actually slapped Li Xing. At this moment, Kathy directly classified Wang Zibin as stupid in her mind. If it is said that Li Xing can only torture Wang Zibin as a shield at most, then this slap will be the revenge of life and death. After a while, Kathy waved her hand and said, "Okay, there is no need to pay attention to Wang Zibin anymore. He committed suicide, no one can save him." Facing Kathy's order, Li Ro nodded without refuting. But in Li Ro's heart, she always felt that Wang Zibin was not trying to die, but confident. Li Ro didn't feel wrong. It was impossible for Wang Zibin to make such a low-level mistake. Wang Zibin, who is sure that he can show the strength of a second-tier knight, is very sure that with his talent, no one will do anything to him. Chapter 35 Soft-hearted, agree to shot. However, the only problem that may arise is that Wang Zibin has not really shown the strength of a second-order knight. Originally, Wang Zibin's plan was for Yu Figuang and Li Xing to attack with all their strength, so he would crush them with the strength of a second-tier knight. But under the circumstances at that time, Yu Figuang was knocked down with a punch. Li Xing thought that Wang Zibin would not dare to attack him, and he had no defense at all. So much so that Wang Zibin not only failed to show his true strength, but was also forced to release water to prevent himself from beating them to death. After all, with Wang Zibin's talent, he could still stand up if he was injured or something, but if he really killed someone, he might not be able to stand up. When it comes to death, someone is bound to take the risk. Naturally, Wang Zibin would not take such unnecessary risks. Of course, this is also a good thing for Wang Zibin. The later the second-tier knight's strength is revealed, the better Wang Zibin's talent can be reduced, and the risk of him being scouted will be lower. Hey, it's not good to be too talented. Who made Wang Zibin hide too many things? The identity of a black mage, the strength of a third-tier mage, and the super-fast speed of cultivation. Any of these exposures will increase Wang Zibin's risk and allow him to be controlled. What's more, with heaven rewards the diligent, Wang Zibin can completely smooth out the efficiency gap brought about by resources. So even if Wang Zibin's talent is revealed later, it doesn't have a big impact. Anyway, Wang Zibin has already made a plan. As long as Kama is held accountable, he will immediately show his strength as a second-tier knight. Therefore, Wang Zibin already had a perfect plan than Kathy thought. White Star Academy, Dean's Office. Auntie, I. Li Xing stood in front of Karma, showing the posture of a victim. If Li Xing's words alone, coupled with his swollen face at this time, undoubtedly confirmed the identity of the victim. But in front of him is Kama, the vice president of White Star Academy, a fifth-order Sky Knight who retired from the battlefield. After investigation, Karma knew exactly what happened, and Li Xing's words could not be hidden from her. After listening to Li Xing's words, Kama did not express his opinion immediately. but looked at the 5 fingerprints on Li Xing's swollen face, showing a look of hatred. For Li Xing, karma really provided the best resources. In Beixing City, none of the night students could enjoy Li Xing's treatment, let alone karma spent a lot of effort to send Li Xing to a better academy for further studies. Originally, the posture of the returned Li Xing made karma very satisfied. But unexpectedly, this simple conflict revealed Li Xing's true colors again. In karma's view, although Li Xing violated the rules of the college by bullying Wang Zibin, it was not a big deal, but if he failed to bully Wang Zibin, he was beaten instead, which is a big deal. This shows that not only her student Yu Figuang, but even Li Xing, whom she cultivated carefully, cannot compare to Wang Zibin. For the first time, anger rose in karma's heart. But not for Wang Zibin, but for Li Xing. Right or wrong is not important anymore, the important thing is that after enjoying so many resources, Li Xing never beat Wang Zibin. As a former fighter, karma didn't care about the state of Yu Figuang and Li Xing at that time, what she saw was the result. Such a result, if it is changed to a battlefield, it must be death. Even Li Xing felt the oppressive atmosphere in the office, he lowered his head and dared not make a sound. After a period of silence and depression, karma looked at the wound on Li Xing's face, remembered the death care of his comrade in arms, and finally calmed down the anger in his heart. Karma turned her back and said indifferently, "Little Xing, the day of the World of Warcraft riot is coming. All formal night students will participate. I want to ensure the safety of the students." Hearing what karma said, Li Xing, who bowed his head, flashed a gleam of joy in his eyes. There is a lot of information revealed in karma's words. The World of Warcraft riots involving all night students means that Wang Zibin will leave the city. When karma talked about ensuring the safety of the students, he emphasized that as long as people don't die, it's fine. "I see, Auntie." After Li Xing responded, he walked out of the dean's office with a secret joy. Listening to Li Xing's gradually disappearing footsteps, karma, who was carrying her back, sighed inwardly. She finally softened her heart. When seeing Li Xing being injured like this, karma thought of the comrade who covered her, and remembered the kindness that comrade had shown her, so she said this. The meaning of karma's words is naturally to show that during the Warcraft riot, Li Xing can use other forces to take revenge on Wang Zibin. The bottom line of revenge is that Wang Zibin cannot die. Apparently, between Li Xing and Wang Zibin, karma, as the deputy dean, finally favored Li Xing. So Wang Zibin didn't wait for karma's accountability, nor did he wait for Li Xing's revenge in the academy. It seems that the conflict that day subsided like this, and nothing happened. It seemed that Li Xing's slap was for nothing, and he didn't move at all. But in fact, no one would think so. Everyone knows that Li Xing's revenge is not absent, but will become bigger and more ruthless as time goes by. This point, Wang Zibin himself also knows. As for Li Xing and Yu Figuang, after getting karma's acquiescence, they have already taken action, although the bottom line is that people cannot die, but in this world, there are simply not too many ways to make life worse than death. This is how Li Xing asked Yu Figuang to arrange: break half the bones, break the tendons and hamstrings, disfigure, cut off certain parts. Li Xing has already begun to imagine how he will decide Wang Zibin's fate at that time. Originally, Li Xing thought that his arrangements were in place, but what he didn't expect was that Yu Figuang's arrangements were even more ruthless. In Li Xing's arrangement, Yu Figuang also added rioting monsters. Can't kill? That's just the bottom line of human beings, not that of Warcraft. Yu Figuang, who was hanged and beaten several times by Wang Zibin, had long wanted to kill Wang Zibin. How could Yu Figuang let go of this opportunity of a monster riot? Therefore, Yu Figuang must be the killer. Under the peaceful life of Beixing Academy, everyone can feel the turbulent waves in the dark. But except for Li Xing and Yu Figuang, no one would have imagined what kind of terrible revenge Wang Zibin would suffer. Time passed quickly, and with the news from the outside, there was suddenly a discussion about a monster riot in White Star Academy. Overnight, the news of the monster riot spread throughout the White Star Academy. At this time, some smart people have realized that the Warcraft riot is the best time for Li Xing and Yu Figuang to take revenge. There is just one question on everyone's mind: will Wang Zibin participate in the World of Warcraft riot? Chapter 36. No wonder everyone has this question. Wang Zibin did not participate in the last campaign to wipe out monsters. It can be said that although the World of Warcraft riot is a good opportunity for revenge, as long as Wang Zibin does not participate, then all opportunities will be lost. This is a very real problem. Yu Figuang and Li Xing would not worry about this. With karma, Wang Zibin would not be able to go. Soon, following the news released by Beixing Academy, all the students let go of such doubts. Warcraft Riot, all formal night students must participate. With the Academy's official emphasis, it means that Wang Zibin must participate in this action. So the question discussed by the students after dinner became what kind of revenge Wang Zibin would receive. After knowing that he had to participate in the Warcraft Riot, Wang Zibin sat in the dormitory and began to think about countermeasures. Although Wang Zibin did not know what karma said to Li Xing, from the analysis of the current situation, Wang Zibin could also see karma's tacit attitude. This is not good news for Wang Zibin. This means that even if Wang Zibin took the initiative to expose the strength of his second-tier knight at this time, he might not necessarily get the corresponding treatment. In a worse case, after Wang Zibin exposed the strength of the second-tier knight, this action against him will further increase the level of danger. Therefore, not only can Wang Zibin not reveal his strength now, but he also needs to hide it. In fact, with the strength of the current third-tier mage and second-tier knight, Wang Zibin was not too worried about Li Xing and Yu Figuang's revenge. He didn't believe that for the sake of the strength of the first-order knight on his face, the two of them could dispatch the fourth-order Sky Knight. Let's take a step back, even if it is a tier 4 Sky Knight. He, Wang Zibin, is an unscrupulous third-tier mage. With the blessing of the flower planter civilization, it is not a big problem to fight over the next level. Even if karma made the shot himself, Wang Zibin felt that he could run even if he couldn't beat it. At any rate, under the strength of a first-order mage back then, he activated leaving home and came here. But now, Wang Zibin is a third-tier mage, so he can run without any problem. It's just that Wang Zibin doesn't need to run away if it's not necessary. It can be said that for this world of Warcraft Riot, Wang Zibin is already invincible. What he was thinking about was how to deal with Yu Figuang and Li Xing, and the pressure that would follow after they were moved. As for admitting defeat and forbearance, sorry, they are not in Wang Zibin's dictionary. After roughly confirming in his mind how much he should master in this operation, Wang Zibin put it behind him and continued his daily exercise. Warcraft riots, as the name suggests, are due to too many low-level monsters. Under the influence of some mysterious power, they will attack human cities in groups. Because Beixing City is located at the border, there are large forests around it. Every once in a while, there will be behaviors of Warcraft riots. In order to deal with every monster riot, the army of Beixing City will not only attack, but also call for the Knight Academy in the city, recruiting formal knight students to participate in the battle. However, this kind of recruitment is not mandatory, and each Knight Academy can freely decide whether to participate. Beixing Academy, as an academy under the control of City Lord Beixing, naturally participates every time. It's just that this time, it was unexpected that the academy required all formal knight students to participate. The day before the Warcraft riot, Wang Zibin walked out of White Star Academy. This act of breaking through the conventional meaning is naturally necessary. Wang Zibin, gear needed. You know, to fight with monsters in the wild, armor, weapons and other equipment are essential for every knight. In the previous Warcraft suppression operation, Wang Zibin made up his mind to participate, and naturally he didn't need to prepare equipment. But this time he must participate in the world of Warcraft riot. Wang Zibin must equip himself with equipment. As for who to get the equipment, of course it is my cheap uncle. When he came to the blacksmith shop, Wang Zibin met his uncle Dean. Good nephew. Uncle. The meeting between the good nephew of the tool man and the cheap uncle is very touching. At least from the perspective of outsiders, the two are full of family affection. Cheap Uncle Dean expressed great surprise to Wang Zibin's arrival, and after some greetings, Dean equipped Wang Zibin with armor and weapons. The armor and weapons provided by Dean are all real materials. The thick armor has greatly improved Wang Zibin's defense, but in terms of movement speed, it has naturally decreased. And the weapon is even more incredible, a huge hammer. Different from the swords equipped by ordinary knights, the hammer provided by Dean is almost in the same line as the hammer he usually used for blacksmithing. Except for the difference in size and weight, the shapes are exactly the same. Just like that, Wang Zibin walked into the blacksmith's shop in casual clothes, and turned into a knight in heavy armor when he came out. This heavy armored knight looks a little bulky. So much so that when Wang Zibin returned to the academy, all the students who saw him couldn't hide their smiles. Compared with them with light helmets, the shape of Wang Zibin's heavy armored knight is really different. But apart from the smiles, the students also have contempt. When fighting Warcraft, defense is the stupidest choice. Because the price of increasing defense is the reduction in speed. Once under siege, it is impossible to run away. Normal students wear light helmets, so that while gaining a certain amount of defense, they can still run if they cannot be beaten. And someone like Wang Zibin, who uses a hammer as a weapon, seems to be powerful, but it is actually difficult to hit Warcraft. Using a heavy helmet as a defense seems to increase defense, but in fact it is difficult to move and easy to be besieged. They all saw Wang Zibin's problem, but they only laughed secretly, did not point it out, and let Wang Zibin make a fool of himself. Doesn't Wang Zibin know? No, of course he knew. But he has no choice. Dean provided him with such armor and weapons. Wang Zibin returned to the dormitory and took off his armor and weapons. Afterwards, looking at the armor and weapons, Wang Zibin thought of the old scars he saw on Dean's face, and thought about it. Coupled with Yu Figuang's unlucky broken leg incident earlier, Wang Zibin's thinking became clearer. The mark on Dean's face shows that Yu Figuang really used an outside trick. Yu Figuang's broken leg was not a bad luck, but Dean's revenge on him. The heavy helmet and hammer in front of him were also deliberately provided by Dean. During the days when he was exercising hard, Dean and Yu Figuang had already been dog-eat-dog, and now the equipment provided by Dean wanted him to die. Chapter 37. This set of heavy armor and weapons is what makes Wang Zibin inconvenient. Impaired movement, besieged by monsters, isn't this the same as wanting to kill Wang Zibin? And Dean, who has already bitten the dog with Yu Figuang, has this motive completely. After a short thought, Wang Zibin roughly deduced the truth of the matter. Hee. Wang Zibin, who felt that he had guessed very closely, chuckled lightly. The current him, looking around, is full of enemies everywhere. This is a very sad thing to say, but Wang Zibin is not surprised. Because from the very beginning, Wang Zibin, who was used as a tool by Uncle Cheap, had already anticipated the current situation. There is no helping for no reason, only for a purpose. If Wang Zibin goes on according to their ideas, it will definitely not be like this. However, how could Wang Zibin be willing to be a pawn? As they wish? How could Wang Zibin bow down to Yu Figuang, Li Xing, and others in exchange for peace? From the beginning to the end, Wang Zibin did not regard himself as a pawn, nor did he allow himself to be wronged. Those who regarded him as a chess piece did not see Wang Zibin growing rapidly with their strength, and had long since possessed the strength to leave the chessboard. The reason why Wang Zibin didn't have an attack was because it was good for him. He doesn't care about other people's opinions. The only thing Wang Zibin is sure about is that he has the ability to play chess and even overturn the chessboard when he develops himself. Even Wang Zibin now has the ability to see through tricks. Therefore, Wang Zibin wasn't worried about the dangers in tomorrow's World of Warcraft riot, but rather became a little excited. He wants to see what kind of tricks these people who have ideas about him can come up with. Then, Wang Zibin picked up the hammer and started to practice. The purpose of Dean's giving Wang Zibin the hammer is not only to make Wang Zibin inconvenient, but also to make it difficult for him to control the weapon. After all, there is no such thing as a hammer in the weapon skills taught by Baxing Academy or even other knight academies. Naturally, Wang Zibin has never practiced hammers, but he doesn't need to practice either. Although the hammer is heavy, it also has the advantage of being heavy. That's right, it's all about breaking the law. This slightly heavy hammer was custom-made according to the strength of a first-level knight, but in the hands of Wang Zibin, a second-level knight, not only was it not heavy, but it seemed a bit light on the contrary. But it is enough to transmit the power of Wang Zibin. This day is spent in training and practicing the use of hammers. In the early morning, at the gate of Baxing Academy, all formal knight students lined up neatly. After Kama finished his speech, the team set off from the gate of the academy and headed out of the city. In the face of the Warcraft riot, defending the city is the most reasonable approach. But White Star City is different. As a city with heavy trade, defending the city means that trade needs to be interrupted, and the economic loss is not small. Moreover, Baxing City itself is quite strong, so there is absolutely no need to defend the city. Therefore, every time the monsters rioted, it was Baxing City who took the initiative to attack. Outside Baxing City, troops and students gathered here. Above the sky, several fifth-order knights, including Karma, floated. They are the commander of the operation and the supporters in case of unexpected situations. In addition to them, there are also 2 fifth-order mages floating in midair. In front of the fifth-order mage, there is a group of healing mages. These mages will join this operation as a medical unit. This was the first time Wang Zibin participated in such a large-scale operation, and he was dazzled by a series of people including medical mages, logistics personnel, and the army. Unable to help, in such an atmosphere, Wang Zibin felt his blood boil. Defend the city, eliminate monsters, let's go. Following the commander's order, the teams began to march towards the forest. The army of White Star City is the vanguard of the action, and they will eliminate most of the rioting monsters. The remaining small number of monsters will be cleared by students from major knight academies and some casual knights. According to the rules of this operation, whoever kills the monster counts, and there are logistics personnel to help deal with it, which is not too convenient. So it attracted a lot of casual knights, ready to make a small fortune. After entering the forest, the large troops gradually dispersed, even the students of the academy were no exception, the forest was too big after all. Usually, at this time, there will be students who are close to each other, and they will act collectively in teams of 3 or 5. This can not only ensure mutual support, but also better deal with unexpected situations. But Wang Zibin can't do it. No student will think of forming a team with him and suffering an indiscriminate disaster. So Wang Zibin can only act alone. But this is not a problem, because Wang Zibin didn't think about forming a team either. In Wang Zibin's view, these first-order knight students could only get in the way. As they walked deeper into the forest, the people became more dispersed. Wang Zibin was carrying a sledgehammer and walking in the forest without any haste, as if he got lost, walking further and further away. Such a move made the few unattached knights who followed him secretly happy in their hearts. Let's go, the more partial the better. While walking deep, Wang Zibin also encountered a rioting monster. Wind Rabbit. Wind Rabbit, a weak existence among the first-order monsters, has the ability to emit wind blades. The wind blade has the cutting power like a sickle, which is not a small threat to the fragile human body. But as long as a person puts on the armor, the threat of the wind blade will plummet. Especially heavy armor like Wang Zibin, it is not an exaggeration to say that it cannot be broken. The moment Wang Zibin met the wind rabbit attacked Wang Zibin. Zi La a wind blade sliced through Wang Zibin's armor, opening a hole in the surface. Wang Zibin stared directly at the attack of the wind blade, and walked towards the wind rabbit. Generally speaking, monsters that find the attack is ineffective will retreat by themselves, but this kind of wind rabbit is different, and it still attacks Wang Zibin persistently. Looking at the light red in Fengta's eyes, Wang Zibin knew that this was the symbol of a rioting monster. The so-called riot means that Warcraft will abandon the normal nature of seeking advantages and avoiding disadvantages, and attack the target regardless of everything. Just like now, even if Wang Zibin came in front of Fengta didn't have any thoughts of running away, but rushed towards Wang Zibin, ready to attack him physically. For the wind rabbit that rushed over, Wang Zibin swung a hammer directly. Immediately, Fengta was flattened by the hammer and died instantly. After marking the dead wind rabbit, indicating that it was his trophy, Wang Zibin continued to walk forward. There will be logistics personnel to deal with such monsters. After the operation is over, Wang Zibin can claim the spoils in the city with the marks. During the period, he encountered several weak monsters, and after they were easily resolved, Wang Zibin had already come to a remote place in the forest. Chapter 38. Wang Zibin, who came to a remote place, seemed to be tired from walking, so he sat directly under a tree and began to rest. After Wang Zibin took a break, the eyes of the scattered knights who followed him secretly, just stop. The scattered knights immediately separated too and rushed to inform the others. Not long after, an encirclement centered on Wang Zibin's location was formed. And this encirclement is still shrinking, that is, moving closer to Wang Zibin. An hour later, Wang Zibin had almost had a rest, got up and continued walking. Not long after, two figures appeared in front of Wang Zibin. Wang Zibin looked at the two people blocking the way. Their bodies were not the standard armor of the army, nor did they have any logos of the academy. Obviously, these are two unattached knights. After being stopped, before Wang Zibin could speak, one figure after another rushed towards him from all directions and surrounded Wang Zibin. They surrounded Wang Zibin silently, neither speaking nor doing other actions, apparently waiting for the Lord to arrive. 2 minutes later, the Lord came. Ha ha ha, Wang Zibin, I didn't expect you to be caught by me at last. With a burst of wild laughter, Yufei Guang came to Wang Zibin. Next to Yufei Guang, Li Xing also arrived as scheduled. At first, I thought you would find a tree to hide, but I didn't expect you to dare to go deep alone, which relieved me. Yu Figuang shook his head and said in the attitude of a winner. Hearing Yu Figuang's words, Wang Zibin looked calm. Indeed, if you want to avoid trouble, it is safest to find a place to hide, or follow the crowded places. But it seems that the academy has considered that some people will fight passively, so they have set a mandatory clearing goal. That is to say, a certain number of monsters must be killed to complete the operation. Wang Zibin had long thought that if he followed the crowded places, he would definitely not get enough kills. That means, Wang Zibin may have the same action to kill Warcraft next time. Can't escape. Therefore, since trouble cannot be avoided, it is better to take the initiative to solve it. Wang Zibin just walked all the way, as if lost, and came here. While Yu Figuang was speaking in the attitude of a winner, Wang Zibin was thinking about the situation he was facing. Apart from Yu Figuang and Li Xing, there were a total of 10 people surrounding him. 5 first-tier knights, 5 second-tier knights. Such a lineup is not invincible even against tier 3 knights. No wonder Yu Figuang directly showed the appearance of a winner, because he really has such capital. But Yu Figuang still knew who the real boss was. After speaking, he immediately licked his face and asked Li Xing for instructions. Brother Xing, you see Wang Zibin has been caught, how do you want to deal with him? Li Xing nodded coldly. He wanted to directly attack Wang Zibin with severe methods such as bone crushing, but he was very angry when he saw Wang Zibin's calm face. So Li Xing held his head high, pointed at Wang Zibin and said, kneel down and lick my shoes, and I'll consider letting you go. That being said, Li Xing will definitely not let Wang Zibin go, thinking is just thinking after all. However, after Li Xing finished speaking, Wang Zibin looked at him with a mentally retarded look. You look ugly, but you think you are beautiful. Li Xing seemed to feel the meaning of Wang Zibin's gaze, and became furious. Okay. Someone give me a slap. Smash his face. Li Xing's actions are undoubtedly revenge for the slap he was slapped by Wang Zibin earlier. Grab his hand for me, I want to do it myself, and vent my anger on Brother Xing. Yu Figuang took the lead and prepared to show himself, by the way, to avenge his 2 punches from Wang Zibin. As soon as the words fell, the 2 First Order Knights closest to Wang Zibin stretched out their hands and grabbed Wang Zibin's arm. It seemed that they were going to set up Wang Zibin so that Yu Figuang could do it. But at this moment, after being surrounded, Wang Zibin, who had been motionless all this time, moved. I saw Wang Zibin swinging the sledgehammer to the left and right. Boom! Boom! With 2 consecutive explosions, the 2 First Order Knights who attacked Wang Zibin were knocked into the air and fell to the ground. Obviously, these 2 First Order Knights are not far from death. Swish! This momentary action caused the remaining 8 knights surrounding Wang Zibin to draw out their weapons and look at Wang Zibin vigilantly. And Yu Figuang, who was full of joy and was about to slap Wang Zibin's big ear, turned pale with fright, and took a few steps back. Even Li Xing took a step back with an ugly expression on his face. Yu Figuang looked at Wang Zibin, then at the 2 First Order Knights who were gradually losing their breath, and suddenly found something, pointing at Wang Zibin and shouting, Wang Zibin, you are a Second Order Knight. At this time, after seeing Wang Zibin's 2 First-Tier Knights in an instant, he could understand with a pig's brain that Wang Zibin was already a Second-Tier Knight. Yu Figuang's words made Li Xing's pupils shrink slightly when he looked at Wang Zibin. No one present knows better than him what a Second-Tier Knight at this age means. In the academy where Li Xing studied, such students represent either unparalleled talent, or the support of the great forces behind them. On the spot, Li Xing had the idea of turning fighting into jade in his mind. From his point of view, the matter has not reached the point of no return. As long as he takes the initiative to apologize and admit his mistakes, and then offers compensation, then everything will be fine. Indeed, if Li Xing did this at this time, Wang Zibin might really accept it. Because from the beginning to the end, they were the ones who suffered, not Wang Zibin. Who can refuse a person who turns on the shore and offers compensation? Not even the Buddha would refuse. But at this time, after Yu Figuang yelled, he immediately said arrogantly, but what about the Second Order Knight? I have 5 Second-Tier Knights here. Will battles can consume you to death, not to mention that as long as they swarm up, you will be hacked to death. When Yu Figuang said this, there was a huge commotion in the forest. Accompanied by the sound of a pig snorting, a human figure and a pig-like monster came before everyone in the chasing room. This is a knight being chased by rioting monsters. When everyone was thinking this way, the chasing knight stopped suddenly, threw a steel whip back, and bound the 4 hooves of the pig monster in an instant. Immediately afterwards, with a flick of his hand, the knight hung the steel whip and the bound magic beast on the big tree beside him. At this moment, everyone understood that it wasn't that the knight was being chased by the monster, but that the knight deliberately lured the monster here. Chapter 39, Blood Vigor. Hammer the watermelon. Add more. After hanging the pig monster from the tree, the knight came to stand in front of Yu Figuang. This kind of action, this kind of posture undoubtedly shows that this knight is the one arranged by Yu Figuang. But such an arrangement is not only unknown to others, but even Li Xing expressed doubts. This is. Facing Li Xing's doubts, Yu Figuang naturally wanted to explain, Brother Xing, this is the tier 3 knight I found, and this monster is my backhand. Speaking of this, Yu Figuang didn't go into details, but looked at Li Xing with a twinkle in his eyes. As the two looked at each other, Li Xing understood what Yu Figuang meant, the riot monster is for Wang Zibin. What Karma said meant that if Li Xing did something, he would save Wang Zibin's life. But if Wang Zibin ran into a rioting monster, then Li Xing had nothing to do with being killed. But Li Xing understands it, but he has other ideas. To be precise, it was the talent Wang Zibin possessed after he demonstrated the strength of a second-tier knight that gave Li Xing the idea of reconciliation. If Wang Zibin was still a first-order knight at this time, then Li Xing would never have such an idea. It's just that Li Xing at this time thought of himself and karma, and then silently erased the plan of reconciliation. If Wang Zibin's talent had been known in the academy, Li Xing might have reconciled. But now there is a tier 3 knight present and a rioting monster, it is simply a perfect killing situation. For his own status, and for karma not to discover Wang Zibin's talent, Li Xing decided to kill Wang Zibin right here. That's right, Li Xing was scared. He was afraid that after karma discovered Wang Zibin's talent, he would look at Wang Zibin differently. Compared with Wang Zibin, Li Xing is undoubtedly much worse, whether it is talent or appearance. In this way, Li Xing, who is not related by blood, has the risk of losing his status. Thinking of these, Li Xing became firm in his mind to keep Wang Zibin here completely. Even under the impact of these thoughts, Li Xing ignored the original plan to concoct Wang Zibin, and directly ordered, abolish him, and then kill him with a monster. Ah! Li Xing's order confused Yu Figuang. This is different from the plan they discussed at the beginning. What Yu Figuang and Li Xing discussed was a one-stop service including humiliation, torture, beating, and disfigurement. Now Li Xing's words are undoubtedly planning to omit all the previous ones and skip directly to the final part of killing Wang Zibin. Li Xing didn't care about Yu Figuang's doubts, and repeated coldly again, do as I say and kill him. Oh! Even if he didn't understand why Li Xing suddenly became murderous, but as the number 1 dog leg, Yu Figuang still faithfully carried out the order, hurry up, do as my brother Xing said. In the next second, the 5 second-tier knights surrounding Wang Zibin immediately waved their weapons. Judging from their attacks, it was not to kill Wang Zibin, but to consume Wang Zibin's power. In this way, Wang Zibin, who has exhausted his strength, will naturally not be an opponent of Warcraft. When the 5 second-tier knights attacked at the same time, Wang Zibin, who didn't say a word, only did one thing. He took off the heavenly rewards in the third innate spell slot in his mind, and replaced it with a new spell, Fang of Blood. Idiom, full of vigor, refers to young people who are full of energy. Spell Blood Vigor, after release, under the blessing of mana, the blood vigor is as strong as it is. Bloody vigor. The moment it is loaded, Wang Zibin's mana immediately starts to be consumed. At the same time, the blood power in Wang Zibin's body, representing the fundamental strength of the knight, instantly surged. No, a more accurate description is that although the amount of blood energy has not changed, the quality has changed. Just like blood. At this time, Wang Zibin only felt that his whole body was full of strength, extremely rigid. Dang 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 dang. Wearing heavy armor, Wang Zibin didn't shake his body when he was directly attacked by 5 second-tier knights. There were only traces of the armor and the sound of metal collisions. The reason why Wang Zibin took the damage directly was naturally for a better attack. Call out! Accompanied by the howling sound of the air, the big hammer in Wang Zibin's hand slammed on the head of a second-tier knight. In an instant, the helmet and head of this second-tier knight exploded, like a hammered watermelon. No one would have thought that Wang Zibin would not defend at all, allowing them to attack and swinging the hammer. This is a typical injury for injury play. But the premise is that it can be hurt. Just like now, Wang Zibin endured the same damage, but this second-tier knight couldn't bear it. The scene that happened between the lightning and the flint was hard to react to. Naturally, the instigator, Wang Zibin, would not let go of such an opportunity, and with the help of the reaction force after hitting the helmet with the sledgehammer, he directly let the sledgehammer bounce towards another second-tier knight. Snapped. Another second-tier knight's head exploded. Immediately afterwards, Wang Zibin swung the hammer continuously when the 3 second-tier knights retracted their weapons. One didn't defend in time and was smashed in the head by Wang Zibin. Although the other 2 returned to defense in time and used their weapons to block the trajectory of Wang Zibin's hammer swing, they were smashed to death by Wang Zibin together with the weapons and people. In just a few seconds, 5 second-tier knights were dead. Not only that, Wang Zibin also used his fierce power to catch up with the 3 first-order knights who turned around and fled, and sent them away with one hammer. At this point, Wang Zibin held the hammer and stopped, looking at Yu Figuang and Li Xing. At this time, Wang Zibin had a lot of blood on his body, and the deformed hammer was even stained red by the blood. Yu Figuang's hand that pointed at Wang Zibin was trembling, and he stuttered when he spoke. Although Li Xing didn't say anything, he couldn't hide the shock on his face. To be honest, if it weren't for a third-tier knight standing beside the 2 of them, they might have peed out of fear. The third-tier knight squinted his eyes and looked at Wang Zibin with a serious gaze. Your strength, there is a problem. Hearing the words of the third-tier knight, Yu Figuang immediately asked, isn't he already at the 3rd level? The third-tier knight shook his head, never leaving Wang Zibin's eyes, and replied, no, his strength is at the 3rd level, but his speed has not reached. That's why I said, there is a problem with his strength. Could it be the blood of a monster? The 3rd-order knight expressed his guess. Impossible. Yu Figuang retorted, he is just a trash civilian, how could he have the blood of a monster? P.S. Thanks to SXM0. For the first tip, and I will add more. Thanks. By the way, please ask for some flower evaluation votes, after all, I am a young author who hits the street. Thank you, readers. Chapter 40. Yu Figuang retorted extremely loudly, as if to embolden himself. Even at this time, Yu Figuang did not change his perception of looking down on Wang Zibin's status as a commoner. Trash civilians. The 3rd-tier knight sneered and said, for a person with such talent, becoming a noble is an easy thing. The words of the 3rd-tier knight left Yu Figuang speechless. Indeed, as long as Wang Zibin wants to, the status of nobility is within his reach. After the 3rd-tier knight finished speaking, Wang Zibin, who had been silent all this time, suddenly said, who are you? At this time, Wang Zibin has already seen that there is a problem with the identity of the 3rd-order knight. Regardless of the words of the 3rd-tier knight or the actions of the 3rd-tier knight, this 3rd-tier knight is by no means an ordinary casual knight. Under normal circumstances, after seeing Wang Zibin kill so many 2nd-rank knights, the 3rd-rank casual knights should turn around and run instead of standing still and analyzing calmly. Not to mention that this 3rd-tier knight has no respect for his employer, Yu Figuang, and doesn't look like a casual knight at all. When Wang Zibin spoke suddenly, Yu Figuang and Li Xing were stunned. Before they could understand the meaning of Wang Zibin's words, the 3rd-tier knight moved. The 3rd-tier knight standing beside Yu Figuang and Li Xing raised his hand and instantly knocked them out. After the 2 fell to the ground, the 3rd-tier knight looked at Wang Zibin with admiration. You are very smart. As the adults said, you are a great threat to us and must be eliminated. My lord. Wang Zibin asked in doubt, who are you? Stop talking, the 3rd-tier knight said with a sneer, I won't tell you, even if you will die soon. After finishing speaking, the 3rd-tier knight wiped his hands on his body, and took out 2 daggers from nowhere. Wang Zibin looked at the green on the dagger, and immediately had a realization, a poisoned dagger, so ruthless. Are you more agile among the 3rd-tier knights? Wang Zibin became nervous. The 3rd-tier knight waved his dagger a few times at random, drawing several after-images in the air and said, that's right, even if you have the power of the 3rd level, it's impossible to hit me. Not to mention that you only have a 2nd-order speed, you can't even run away. This is the confidence of the 3rd-order knight. The 3rd-tier knight holding double daggers glanced at Wang Zibin, locking on Wang Zibin's weakness. Although Wang Zibin is wearing heavy armor, there are some weak links. For this 3rd-tier knight, as long as his dagger cuts through these weak points, it can cut Wang Zibin's skin. And the venom extracted from the daggers in his hand sealed his throat with blood. In the eyes of the 3rd-order knight, Wang Zibin's life has already entered the countdown. When the 3rd-tier knight looked at his weaknesses, Wang Zibin also knew that he was in danger. It was impossible for him to beat this third-tier knight with the knight's strength alone. Not to mention that this third-tier knight made 2 poisoned daggers without morality. Once close, Wang Zibin is not far from death. But since this tier 3 knight is not moral, don't blame him, Wang Zibin. Wang Zibin waved the big hammer in his hand casually, and said to himself, indeed, I can't run you, or even beat you. In terms of knight strength, I am not as good as you. But, you don't believe me when I tell you. Don't look at the hammer I'm swinging now, but in fact, I'm a mage. After finishing speaking, Wang Zibin immediately removed blood vigor in his mind, and replaced it with another spell, thunder on the ground. The idiom, thunder from the ground, it is still said that there is a thunder from the ground. A metaphor for a sudden major change. It is also a metaphor for a sudden increase in fame or status. Spell thunder from the ground, a thunderbolt rises from the ground. After putting on the new spell, Wang Zibin raised his hand directly at the third-tier knight who was puzzled by his words. Thunder on the ground. As most of the mana in Wang Zibin's body disappeared, a thunderbolt rose from the ground where the third-tier knight was standing. Zizi accompanied by the sound of violent electric current, the third-tier knight fell to the ground with black smoke, lifeless. This was the first time Wang Zibin cast a spell on the knight, but the effect, of course, satisfied Wang Zibin. At the first to third level, mages have an almost crushing advantage over knights. Although you are fast, my spells are faster. Wang Zibin looked at the third-order knight who was electrocuted to death, and pretended to be a jerk. After looking around and confirming that there were no survivors, Wang Zibin came to Yu Figuang and Li Xing. The question is, how should these 2 people deal with it? The sudden snort of a pig made Wang Zibin turn his attention to the hoisted monster. Wang Zibin looked at this monster, recalling its information in his mind, brutal pig, the strongest of the first-order monsters, not to mention its rough skin and thick flesh, its pig nose is as hard as steel. It is no exaggeration to say that the head-on collision of the wild pig is something that even the second-tier knights cannot stop. The blood-red eyes of this savage pig at this time, obviously fell into a state of super berserk, and its fighting power is undoubtedly stronger. Wang Zibin looked at the wild pig, then at the 2 people on the ground, and had an idea in his mind. Crouching down, Wang Zibin stretched out his hand to Li Xing's head. Wang Zibin put his hand on top of Li Xing's head, his thoughts sank into his mind, and he replaced the lightning thunder on the third talent spell slot with insanity. Idiom, insanity, it is a mental illness, the spirit and thinking are confused, and the normality is lost. Spell insanity, after being released, the target will fall into a state of mental confusion. Note, the maintenance of this state depends on the target's own strength and the mana value used. Wang Zibin spent all his mana and released insanity on Li Xing. A burst of dark and strange light continuously seeped into Li Xing's mind from Wang Zibin's hand. The fainted Li Xing screamed several times, his body twitched a few times, and then there was no movement. After dealing with Li Xing, Wang Zibin started to deal with the scene again. 10 minutes later, as Wang Zibin left with Li Xing on his shoulders, the scene returned to silence, leaving only the hanging wild pig struggling violently, and Yu Figuang lying quietly on the ground. Half an hour later, Wang Zibin came back here again, but Li Xing on his shoulder disappeared. Looking at the increasingly irritable wild pig, Wang Zibin comforted him, "Don't worry, let you down immediately, let you be happy." What responded to him was a louder grunt from the wild pig. Boom! With the sound of a stone hitting the helmet, Yu Figuang got up from the ground in a daze. Before he could recall what happened just now, he saw Wang Zibin smiling at him in the distance. Chapter 41. How are you still alive? The moment he saw Wang Zibin, Yu Figuang pointed at Wang Zibin and yelled in disbelief. In Yu Figuang's mind, Wang Zibin should be a dead man. Cough, Wang Zibin coughed dryly and reminded, "Although I really want to explain this problem to you, I don't think you have time to listen to me explaining." Before Wang Zibin could say anything, the sound of a heavy object falling sounded behind Yu Figuang. Startled, Yu Figuang hastily turned his head to look behind. Seeing this, Yu Figuang was so frightened that he almost lost his wits. "All I saw was a wild pig with blood-red eyes and rough gas from its nostrils, getting up from the ground and staring at him viciously. Help me!" The moment Yu Figuang saw the wild pig, he turned around and asked Wang Zibin for help. However, Wang Zibin, whom he regarded as his savior, has disappeared. Run! This was the only thought in Yu Figuang's mind. The deadly sense of danger coming from behind made Yu Figuang's adrenaline secrete wildly, and then, as if a chrysanthemum had been exploded, he ejected and ran forward. There is one thing to say, at this time, Yu Figuang ran the fastest speed in his life. Even the wild pig behind him didn't catch up, and even distanced himself. However, Yu Figuang's top speed didn't last long, and his speed dropped suddenly because of physical problems. The sound of the wild pig kept approaching, and Yu Figuang's mind began to empty. At this moment, Yu Figuang thought a lot, and finally stopped on Wang Zibin and the wild pig. Unexpectedly, the wild pig I prepared for Wang Zibin turned out to be enjoyed by myself. Yu Figuang, who had such an idea in his mind, was hit on the back by the pig's nose, was smashed through instantly, and then broke in two. After the wild pig killed Yu Figuang, it didn't stop, and went all the way, smashing down all the trees along the way. Wang Zibin looked at Yu Figuang's miserable situation from a distance, shook his head and walked back. If I knew this earlier, why bother? In the afternoon, on the way back, a piece of news spread among the teams of each college. Yu Figuang from Baxing Academy was killed by a monster and was smashed into two pieces. His death was miserable. Li Xing of Baxing College was in a coma, and after being rescued by a 5th-level mage, he lost his mind. According to the 5th-level mage, he was hit by a high-level psychic magic. For this reason, the vice president of White Star Academy, was furious, and arranged for all the Sky Knights of the Academy, plus people from the army, to enter the forest for a thorough investigation. When this news spread, the students of White Star Academy would pretend to pass by Wang Zibin's figure unintentionally from various angles. Both Yu Figuang and Li Xing, who had the accident, had conflicts with Wang Zibin. And it is recognized that the two will attack Wang Zibin in this Warcraft riot. But now, Wang Zibin is back alive and kicking, while Yu Figuang and Li Xing are both dead and crazy. If there is a problem here, no one will believe it. In the team of the Noble Knight Academy in White Star City, Kathy, who heard the news, lost her eyesight for a while, and her heart was extremely shocked. After Li Ro heard the news, she remained silent on the surface, but secretly said in her heart, "Sure enough, Wang Zibin is really confident." Thinking of Wang Zibin's handsome face, Li Ro looked at the absent-minded Kathy in front of her, and laughed again in her heart. No wonder Wang Zibin is not interested in Kathy, because he thinks Kathy is not good enough for him. He, and us, are no longer in the same class. Suddenly, Li Ro had this feeling. At night, after Wang Zibin completed today's night training in the dormitory, he began to wait quietly. What is he waiting for? Wait for the worst result. Letting Yu Figuang die, making Li Xing unconscious. Since Wang Zibin dared to do it, he had already imagined the worst possible outcome. Just as all students doubted Wang Zibin, Karma must also doubt Wang Zibin. Although Wang Zibin is confident, Karma and the others can't find direct evidence, at least not in a short time. However, you must know that sometimes you don't need evidence to do things, just have doubts. The worst result is that Karma came directly to Wang Zibin. At that time, there are two roads in front of Wang Zibin: either show talent and make Karma worry, or run away. If possible, Wang Zibin would not want to go to the current situation. After all, he loves peace and just wants to develop with peace of mind. It's just that this world doesn't run according to Wang Zibin's will. Wang Zibin was forced to come to this point by them. Who made Wang Zibin? A person who refuses to suffer. Just like when Yu Figuang came to trouble Wang Zibin for the first time, why did Wang Zibin let him go? Let him bully? Therefore, Wang Zibin, who does not want to be bullied, has come to today step by step. And Yu Figuang, who wanted to bully Wang Zibin, stayed in that forest forever. Killers, people will always kill them. Wang Zibin didn't regret what he did, so he waited quietly in the room, and in the end, no matter good or bad, he could handle it. Time passed bit by bit, and soon it was midnight. The worst didn't happen. Wang Zibin went to bed. The next day, Wang Zibin got the latest news from the discussions of other students. After a joint investigation by Kama and the army, a major discovery was made. A spy from the Haori Empire died in the forest, suspected of being a mage. After a few more days like this, the White Star City officials finally announced the results of the investigation on the incident that day. Yu Figuang's death was caused by a Tier 1 Warcraft wild pig. After investigation, it was confirmed that the rioting wild pig finally died in the hands of the army. Li Xing's insanity was caused by high-level spiritual magic, which was done by a mysterious mage. It was discovered that a third-tier knight spy of the Haori Empire died, which was done by a mysterious mage. In this regard, Bexing City officially issued a reward for all clues related to the mysterious mage. At the same time, the officials of White Star City have stepped up their crackdown on the spies of the Haori Empire, and any whistleblower can get a lot of rewards. Arriving here, it seems that there is a meaning of closing the coffin. Yu Figuang was really killed by a monster, and Li Xing was also delirious because of a mysterious mage. It has nothing to do with Wang Zibin. The students in Bexing Academy no longer peeked at Wang Zibin with suspicious eyes all the time, and everything returned to normal, except that there were 2 people missing in Bexing Academy. But is it really back to normal? Of course not. At least not for Wang Zibin. From that day on, Wang Zibin could feel that he was being watched. To be able to monitor him in the academy, Karma's approval must be obtained. This shows that even if Karma did not find evidence, Wang Zibin was listed as a key suspect. Under such circumstances, once Wang Zibin made any changes, he would definitely be arrested. The one who has the same treatment as Wang Zibin is his cheap uncle Dean. Chapter 42. Dean, as a spy of the Haori Empire who had been lurking for a long time, completely hid himself from the moment he realized that he was being watched. At the same time, he also knew that the third-tier night spy he sent out had screwed up. Afterwards, White Star City's official announcement made Dean confirm this point. At this time, Dean regretted sending this third-tier night spy, so that the original ordinary incident went directly to a higher level. But what makes him regret even more is that he brought Wang Zibin back as a tool for convenience. But that's the end of the matter, regretting is useless. Dean, who was under surveillance, interrupted all espionage activities, and every day he either cursed Wang Zibin in his heart, or he was looking forward to the end of the surveillance. Unlike Dean, Wang Zibin is still living a normal penance life under surveillance. Surveillance has no effect on Wang Zibin's life. Even in a sense, there are benefits. That is, other practitioners more or less knew something about Wang Zibin being watched, and wherever Wang Zibin went, all the practitioners stayed away. As for the people who came to trouble Wang Zibin, there was none. This allows Wang Zibin to get the maximum amount of time to exercise. Under this kind of training, coupled with the improvement brought about by the battle in the Warcraft riot, Wang Zibin reached the peak of the Second Order Knight. Feeling the bottleneck, Wang Zibin gave full play to the power of accumulated over time and successfully broke through the Third Order Knight in one night. After breaking through to the third-tier Knight, Wang Zibin was very calm, not even a bit happy. Because before him, there is a most realistic problem. That is the effect of the White Star Academy Night Secret Medicine, which has been further reduced. Under normal circumstances, Wang Zibin would have approached Karma to expose his strength as a Tier 2 Knight, and then be recommended to a better academy. No matter how bad it is, Wang Zibin can still graduate from White Star Academy and study on his own. But with the current situation, Wang Zibin can't do anything. Therefore, he can only continue his life of penance with extremely low efficiency, and then take pleasure in caring about Li Xing's news. Because of Li Xing's insanity, everyone thought he would be a big breakthrough. What's more, Karma will spare no effort to treat him. During the discussions among the students, Wang Zibin learned that Karma took Li Xing and first went to the Masters Association of Bexing City for consultation with all the masters. The result was unsatisfactory, so I could only investigate the type of magic. Afterwards, Karma used his father's connections with the city lord Bexing to find the owner of the only mage tower in Bexing City, the 7th level Magister. Under the Magister's inspection, although he still couldn't cure it immediately, he saw more things. The spiritual magic possessed by Li Xing will dissipate automatically over time. And the Magister also gave an approximate time, within 1 to 2 months. So many people, including Karma, began to waiting for Li Xing to return to normal. Wang Zibin, who got the news, knew that there was not much time left for him. As long as Li Xing wakes up, Wang Zibin will be exposed immediately. Wang Zibin knew that his method of cleaning up the scene was very crude. The White Star City officials and Karma must have information about the 10 knights who were killed. Even if Li Xing was completely ignorant of what happened next, just his testimony against Wang Zibin for killing 10 knights was enough to sentence Wang Zibin to death. As for appealing, being besieged, etc., Wang Zibin, who is powerless, cannot do it. Of course, Wang Zibin is not without a way out. There are 2 paths before him now. The first one, report Cheap Uncle Dean. That's right, according to the official news of Haori Empire's spies, Wang Zibin has long deduced that Uncle Dean is the boss that the third-tier knight said. That is, the cheap Uncle Dean who hides his identity has the motive and the ability to send this third-order knight to kill Wang Zibin. Even Wang Zibin guessed the whole operation of the third-level knight sent by cheap Uncle Dean, first mix with Yu Figuang's subordinates, then participate in the plan of Yu Figuang and Li Xing throughout the whole process, and finally act as Yu Figuang's subordinates. After successfully killing Wang Zibin, it was also Yu Figuang and Li Xing who were tracked down, and they had nothing to do with them. However, there was an accident in the middle, and Wang Zibin cleared the field by himself, making their small calculations empty. Anyway, Wang Zibin knew the hidden identity of Uncle Cheap Dean. As long as he reported it, he would definitely get a lot of credit. But doing so, Wang Zibin is not without risk, that is, his identity cannot be justified, and after that, as a person involved with Dean, he probably will inevitably be monitored for a long time. This road is a bit worth the loss. Wang Zibin does not want to go. The second rule is to show off your talents. This path is also risky, requiring Wang Zibin to gamble whether karma will handle it impartially because of his talent. But in fact, Wang Zibin has no hope for this. Wang Zibin saw karma's preference for Li Xing because of the Warcraft riots he was forced to participate in. Therefore, Wang Zibin, who seems to have two ways to go, actually has no way to go. After all, it is still too weak. Wang Zibin, who found himself with nowhere to go, sighed like this. After thinking hard for a long time, Wang Zibin, who had nowhere to go, was forced to make the worst plan, run away. Wang Zibin doesn't want to do this unless necessary. After all, the consequences of leaving home were vivid in my mind the last time I ran away. Now the involvement of Wang Zibin and cheap Uncle Dean is caused by leaving home. Wang Zibin rejects this kind of space movement that is completely out of his control. But people will bow to reality after all. Wang Zibin had to make a plan to run away for his own life. The only good news is that Wang Zibin, who is now a third-tier mage, no longer needs to dig wells. Or, because this is not his hometown, it is useless to dig a well. Fortunately, Wang Zibin has other options. After planning the escape spell in his mind, Wang Zibin looked at the cube that he had placed in the corner and hadn't opened it. This treasure obtained from the treasure house of the city lord, Wang Zibin secretly feels that it is definitely not easy. So Wang Zibin didn't open it, but quietly waited for the opportunity. Originally, Wang Zibin opened it when he was planning to go to a better college to study, but now it seems that he can only take it with him on the road. After making the plan to run away, Wang Zibin calmed down and continued to practice hard while waiting for Li Xing to return to normal. Everything will have a result after Li Xing is back to normal. Chapter 43. The days of penance passed quickly, and January passed in a blink of an eye. Everything in White Star Academy was peaceful, and Wang Zibin also went back and forth between classrooms and dormitories alone. Karma didn't come to him, Kathy didn't come to him, nobody came to him. If Wang Zibin hadn't received the secret medicine and food on a regular basis every day, he would have been cut off from the entire White Star Academy and the entire White Star City, and turned into an invisible person. On such days, Wang Zibin not only did not feel lonely, but had a sense of enjoyment. Every day, bit by bit, I can see the naked eye, every bit of my efforts will be rewarded, and every bit of my accumulation can be turned into a boost. However, the calm was finally broken. On this day, Li Xing did not wake up, but walked into the gate of the city lord's mansion alone. This is a person who is covered in black robes. If he is not wearing mage robes, then people would believe that he is a black mage. After entering the city lord's mansion, he saw Karma, showing his miserable face. He is Peggy, a person who disappeared from the Civilian Knight Academy, a person who troubled Wang Zibin and was punched by Wang Zibin to death. After dropping out of the Knight Academy, within a few days, Peggy disappeared in White Star City. With endless resentment towards Wang Zibin, Peggy tracked down the relationship between Wang Zibin and his cheap Uncle Dean. No one would have thought that Peggy traced all the way to the place of birth on the information that Dean forged for Wang Zibin. After this investigation, the problem was found. There is something wrong with Wang Zibin's name, but it can also be said that it was changed later. But Wang Zibin's appearance cannot be changed. Wang Zibin's information does exist, but after interviews and investigations, it is not the same person as Wang Zibin at all. That person looks ordinary and ordinary. With the follow-up in-depth investigation, Peggy finally found something more important, which was related to the spies of the Haori Empire. Peggy, spent months and finally found evidence against Wang Zibin. This is something that ordinary intelligence departments cannot do, because they will never, like Peggy, firmly believe that Wang Zibin has a problem, so they will not stop looking for relevant evidence until they achieve their goals. Today is the day Peggy returns to White Star City with evidence. And after returning to Bexing City, Peggy found out about Yu Figuang and Li Xing, so she came to the city lord's mansion decisively. At the gate of the Santos mansion, Peggy recalled Wang Zibin's face, showing a sneer. Wang Zibin, this time I will see how you die. If Wang Zibin knew Peggy's actions and thoughts, he would definitely give him a thumbs up. You are awesome and persistent. Even if people are ugly, they still want to be beautiful. Yes, as soon as Li Xing wakes up, Wang Zibin himself will be questioned, and Peggy's evidence has little effect on Wang Zibin. But this is not to say that Peggy's evidence is useless, it just means that the evidence Peggy found, compared to Wang Zibin, points more to his cheap Uncle Dean. At this time, Uncle Dean didn't know that Peggy took a piece of evidence that killed him and walked into the Santos mansion. In the city lord's mansion, Karma immediately thought of this after seeing the evidence Peggy presented. However, Karma did not arrest Dean and Wang Zibin immediately, but after thinking about it, he chose another approach. She wants to wipe out all the spies of Haori Empire. So, from the next day, Karma cancelled the monitoring of Dean and Wang Zibin. Of course, it doesn't mean that there is no real monitoring, but the means of monitoring have become more advanced. With the support of the White Star City Lord, Karma mobilized several 5th-level Sky Knights to monitor the two of them. The surveillance of the 5th-order Sky Knight, not to mention Wang Zibin, even Dean can't perceive it. After feeling that the surveillance was cancelled, Dean naturally wouldn't take any action immediately. After waiting for a few more days, Dean finally began to resume spy work step by step after repeatedly confirming that he was not being watched. Dean was very cautious and careful, but he had no idea that he had already been exposed, and that White Star City had set up a net, waiting for him to get inside. On Dean's side, Karma has gained a lot, but on Wang Zibin's side, Karma still has nothing. This is inevitable, after all, Dean is a real spy of the Haori Empire, but Wang Zibin is not. Even if Wang Zibin knew that he was being monitored by the 5th-level Sky Knight, it would not change anything. Because his daily life, in addition to penance, is penance. After another 10 days passed, Li Xing finally returned to normal. As soon as Li Xing returned to normal, he explained to Karma what happened back then. Although Li Xing added oil and vinegar to many things, the key things were still said, for example, Wang Zibin's hidden strength, for example, Wang Zibin killed 10 knights, and for example, the 3rd Order Knight and the rioting wild pig. After knowing this, Karma naturally connected all the doubts in the Warcraft riot. However, there remains the greatest mystery of all, the mysterious mage. It's just that with these evidences, apart from the mysterious mage, it is enough to kill Wang Zibin. But even with such evidence, Karma did not act, but released the news that Li Xing had returned to normal, and let Li Xing show up in Bexing Academy. Obviously, Karma has big plans, and she wants to use Li Xing to lure Wang Zibin into a panic and let him show even bigger lies. It's a pity that Wang Zibin has no false feet at all, so after 10 days of wits between Karma and the air, Wang Zibin's life is as usual. Wang Zibin didn't contact cheap Uncle Dean, didn't run away, and didn't think about killing Li Xing. This is completely different from what Karma thought. 10 days later, Karma couldn't wait any longer. Dean and White Star City's spy network had almost been investigated, and the network had to be closed. On this day, a major event that shocked Bexing City happened. The army of Bexing City was dispatched in large numbers, and dozens of Sky Knights in the sky were in charge, arresting the spies of Haori Empire in various parts of Bexing City. Wang Zibin's cheap uncle, Dean, was shot by the deputy city lord himself and taken away in the blacksmith's shop. Such a big move naturally shocked the whole city, and there was a lot of discussion in Bexing Academy about it. Hearing the students' discussions, Wang Zibin immediately understood that this day has finally come. Running plan, start. Wang Zibin returned to the dormitory, took off his college uniform, and put on the long-prepared robe. Not mage robes, which require a mage status to buy, but ordinary robes. After changing into his robes, Wang Zibin tidied up the dormitory so as not to cause trouble to others. In the end, Wang Zibin hugged the cube, sat on the seat, facing the door, and waited for Karma's arrival. Chapter 44. Wang Zibin waited for most of the day, from noon to night. It seemed that no one had noticed him, and it seemed that he was not involved in the big event that shook Bexing City. But this was all an illusion. Wang Zibin knew that the reason no one came to arrest him was entirely because Karma stopped the others. And Karma deliberately left such time for Wang Zibin, but also unwillingly waited for Wang Zibin to jump the wall in a hurry and expose more things. It's a pity that when Karma thought Wang Zibin's last moment, when he thought he would definitely make a move, Wang Zibin didn't make any other moves. Boom boom. Accompanied by the knock on the door, it was Karma's voice, Wang Zibin, are you inside? Finally, Karma came to the door. After Wang Zibin heard Karma's voice, he glanced at the armor and hammer placed by the door, and knew that since Karma appeared here, it meant that Uncle Cheap had been arrested. Thinking back to Uncle Dean, Cheap, from using him as a tool at the beginning, to wanting to kill him, to being exposed now. Wang Zibin sighed inwardly, his life in Baxing City began because of his cheap uncle, and it seems that now it also ends because of him. And Wang Zibin, from the beginning to the end, never reported the cheap Uncle Dean. With these in mind, Wang Zibin said, please come in, the door is unlocked. Karma outside the door was taken aback when he heard the words, then opened the door and walked in. The first time she walked in, Karma was stunned by the posture of Wang Zibin sitting there holding the cube, especially Wang Zibin's calm eyes looking at her at this time. In Wang Zibin's gaze, Karma could see that he was not the piece of knowing nothing, but the piece of knowing everything that happened outside. It was hard for Karma to understand why Wang Zibin was so calm after being exposed. The two looked at each other for a moment, and Karma couldn't help but said, Wang Zibin, it has been discovered that you are a spy of the Haori Empire. No, Wang Zibin shook his head, denying Karma's statement, I'm not. It's useless to deny, your uncle, no, your leader Dean, has already testified against you. Karma directly threw out the most powerful evidence. Wang Zibin, who heard this, was not surprised at all, and said truthfully, I'm really not, I was just used by him when I first came to White Star City. After explaining a little bit, Wang Zibin didn't expect this to convince Karma, but pointed out his most valuable place and asked, if I have a very powerful talent, can I calm down this incident? Showing his talent, this is the only way Wang Zibin can think of to exonerate himself, and it is also his last attempt. You mean you have become a second-order knight? Karma, who knew Wang Zibin's hidden strength from Li Xing, shook his head, although Wang Zibin, who has already reached the second-level knight, is very talented, but he still cannot escape the accusation of being a spy of the Haori Empire. However, just as Karma shook his head, he looked at Wang Zibin to mobilize his blood, bursting into the aura of a third-tier knight. At this moment, Karma was shocked. Third-order knight. Even Karma, who thought he was well informed, was shocked when he saw Wang Zibin, who showed the strength of a third-tier knight. At Wang Zibin's age, with the strength of a third-tier knight, only the top genius in the empire can achieve it. And such a person, as long as he doesn't die young, can reach the level of a titled knight. Karma's father, the 7th-ranked knight titled White Star, was once such a genius. At this moment, Karma even felt that Wang Zibin had a terrifying talent, which made it hard for her to look directly at him. However, Karma is still a person who has experienced strong winds and waves after all. She tried her best to suppress the shock in her heart and gave an ambiguous answer, your talent amazes me, but I need to consider. Hearing this, Wang Zibin looked directly into Karma's eyes and realized that what he had expected was correct. His talent is enough to offset this incident, because he can only be regarded as a victim from the beginning to the end, and he has not actually carried out any related actions of Haori Empire spies. But Karma still did not give a positive answer. This shows that Karma is still leaning towards Li Xing at this time. Perhaps as Karma said, she needs time to think about it, and she may finally give the result Wang Zibin wants to see. However, this is only possible after all. It is impossible for Wang Zibin to allow his life and death to be controlled by others. Therefore, after hearing Karma say such words, before she could finish speaking, Wang Zibin interrupted her, I see. Karma, who was interrupted, looked at Wang Zibin inexplicably. What she saw was Wang Zibin with a big smile on his face. Do you know why I killed Yu Figuang instead of Li Xing? Wang Zibin said with a smile. Before Karma could answer, Wang Zibin said to himself, because you are kind to me, I didn't kill him. As Wang Zibin said, the only reason Wang Zibin didn't kill Li Xing in the forest that day was not because he didn't dare to kill him, but because of Karma's kindness to him. Whether it was the best treatment Karma offered him at White Star Academy, or the cube in his hand at this time, Wang Zibin has accepted Karma's kindness. Now, the grievances are gone. Wang Zibin's smile was not only a reply to Karma's disappointment, but also a relief from the experience of White Star Academy. Finally, Karma, goodbye by fate. Wang Zibin, who said these words, looked carefully at Karma's face. This was the second time he formally looked at Karma, and the first time was Karma's words of concern for him when he walked out of the Santos treasure house. Under Wang Zibin's eyes, Karma also remembered what happened outside the treasure house of the city lord back then. At that time, how did the two of them ever think about what happened today? Suddenly, a feeling that life is just as it was at the first sight surfaced in Karma's heart. You. As soon as Karma opened her mouth and was about to say something, she saw an unexpected scene. After saying goodbye, Wang Zibin directly activated the spell Wandering the World. Idiom, wandering in the end of the world, wandering around without a fixed residence. Wandering everywhere, footprints all over the world. Spell Wandering the end of the world, after being released, a random spatial teleportation will be carried out. Note, you cannot teleport to locations you have already visited. Wandering the world. The moment Wang Zibin was activated, Wang Zibin disappeared in place together with the cube in his hand. Seeing Wang Zibin disappear, Karma said in surprise, space magic. Karma has already seen that it is space magic that makes Wang Zibin disappear. Is it a magic item? Or a spell scroll? Karma subconsciously guessed the items used by Wang Zibin. Chapter 45. Whether it is a magic item or a spell scroll, they are extremely precious things, and even Karma does not own them. Therefore, Karma never thought that Wang Zibin would have such a thing, and it was too late to react. At this time, Karma understood the meaning of Wang Zibin's last sentence. See you soon. It seems that we are really destined to meet again in the future. Thinking of this, Karma felt extremely calm in her heart, without any anger that Wang Zibin escaped from her hands. Such a state is very strange, and it does not conform to Karma's usual style at all. Why? Karma was thinking about her mental state, and suddenly remembered Wang Zibin's last scrutiny. At this moment, Karma realized that from the first sizing up to the last sizing up, Wang Zibin came to see her with an equal attitude. Even if Wang Zibin was extremely weak on the spot, even if Karma's face made people dare not look directly at him. An unprecedented ripple appeared in Karma's heart, which was hard to calm down. Karma glanced around the dormitory and found that everything was in order. It seemed that the owner had already made plans for a long journey. Enmity gone? Karma thought about the meaning of Wang Zibin's words, and felt the feeling of losing something important again. Feeling lost, Karma thought of Li Xing. If it wasn't for Li Xing, Karma would indeed give the answer Wang Zibin wanted. Perhaps, the kindness of comrades in arms at the beginning seems to be offset. Karma remembered that she had taken care of Li Xing all these years, which had already completely offset the kindness of her comrades in arms. Now because of Li Xing, Karma has missed a genius like Wang Zibin, and even vaguely lost some other things. For Li Xing, Karma already has a clear conscience. After walking out of Wang Zibin's dormitory, Karma resumed her daily vice-principal posture and reported Wang Zibin's situation. The next day, White Star City officially issued a wanted warrant, wanted spy of Haori Empire, Wang Zibin, First Order Knight. Yes, Karma hides Wang Zibin's true strength. So far, apart from this arrest warrant, Wang Zibin's experience in Bexing City is over. And the grievances are over. Chief Uncle Dean offered Wang Zibin the Knight Academy. Yes, Wang Zibin never reported Dean, which offset the kindness. Peggy wants to teach Wang Zibin a lesson, it's resentment. Wang Zibin smashed his cheekbones with a punch and settled the grudge. Kathy helped Wang Zibin get olive branches from several Knight Academies. Yes, Wang Zibin used her as a shield to offset the kindness. Yu Figuang troubled Wang Zibin for no reason, it was a complaint. The death of Yu Figuang in the forest offset this grievance. Karma provided Wang Zibin with the best treatment and a treasure, yes n. Wang Zibin cancelled this kindness by sparing Li Xing's life. From Wang Zibin's point of view, the grievances are gone, it's about Karma, and it's also about the other people in Bexing City. However, things like grievances will never end because of someone's unilateral thoughts. Because Peggy made a good report, the White Star City officials asked him what kind of reward he wanted. Peggy had already prepared it, and said a request. He wanted to get the blood of the Panluan worm. The official personnel who heard this request immediately changed their expressions and showed a horrified look. Panluan worm, a terrifying beast with a face made entirely of teeth. Although it was only third rank, it was extremely fierce and ugly. However, what the officials were terrified of was not because they were afraid of the third-order monster Panluan, but because of the terrifying changes that occurred after the human body contained the blood of Panluan. Blood Knights are the foundation of the Starry Empire. Generally speaking, knights below the 3rd level can only accommodate low-level monster bloodlines. Except for some commoners who will do this, nobles with a little foresight will only be accommodated at the 3rd level or later. After the knight accommodates the blood of the monster, it will cause corresponding changes in the body according to the corresponding monster. But generally speaking, the changes are still within a reasonable range. For example, Peggy's previous bloodline of a pig-like monster only made him extremely obese, which is not unacceptable. However, Panluan worms are different. After containing the Panluan worm, the entire face of the knight will become the same as the Panluan worm, which is composed of circles of teeth. Historically, knights who tried to contain the Panluan worms either committed suicide because they became so unacceptable, or because of its ugly and terrifying appearance, it was easily killed by other powerful creatures. In the blood of low-level monsters, Panluan worms are a recognized taboo, and no one wants to accommodate them. Now Peggy's request will make all the officials look pale. Peggy, who had accommodated Panluan, took the initiative to join the Special Intelligence Department of the Starry Empire, under the pseudonym Pain. Pain, who was holding Wang Zibin's arrest warrant, had a terrifying toothy face and roared, "Wang Zibin, you can't escape." Naturally, Wang Zibin would not know that Peggy in the past and Pain in the present had an unending hatred for him. Even after he left Baxing City, Pain did not let go of this grievance, so he did not hesitate to become a monster and join the Special Intelligence Department. If Wang Zibin knew, then he would definitely persuade Pain, why bother? It's not easy to survive under his hands, why bother to pounce on him like a moth to a flame? He, Wang Zibin, was not someone Pain could look up to from the very beginning. Wang Zibin, who didn't know Pain, crossed space and came to a new place after using wandering in the end of the world. The Xingyu Mountains, a huge mountain range separating the Starry Empire and the Full Moon Empire, is a paradise for endless monsters. Xingyu City, located at the intersection of the Full Moon Empire and the Xingyu Mountain Range, is the closest city in the empire to the Xingyu Mountain Range. At night, at a camp dozens of miles away from Xingyu City. The camp was temporarily set up by the knights who came out of the Xingyu Mountain Range. Because it was getting late, they planned to enter Xingyu City tomorrow. Suddenly, in the middle of the camp, the bonfire that was burning suddenly exploded as if affected by a mysterious force. Boom! Following the explosion, the resting knights in the entire camp were awakened immediately. They drew out their weapons one after another, and became tensely on guard. Immediately afterwards, under the vigilant eyes of all the knights, a space crack appeared at the place where the bonfire was originally located, and then a figure stepped out of the space crack. Seeing such a scene, the knights all opened their mouths wide open, stunned. Wang Zibin, who stepped out of the space crack, dragged the cube with one hand, and calmly looked at the surrounding environment. This random teleportation is obviously better than last time, after all he is very conscious. However, when Wang Zibin thought this way, he saw a group of knights with weapons surrounding him. Chapter 46. Wang Zibin, who found himself surrounded by a group of knights, was confused. It seems that the current situation is worse than last time? Especially the current Wang Zibin, whose mana is exhausted, can only use the strength of a third-tier knight. But among the group of knights surrounding him, there were no less than 6 third-tier knights in terms of their aura. Once a conflict occurs, Wang Zibin is afraid that he will have no power to fight back. At this moment, Wang Zibin suppressed his panic and looked at the group of knights coldly. He knew that he couldn't panic, because if he panicked, he would be exposed. As everyone knows, Wang Zibin's gesture made the knights around him panic. It is unknown who was the first to recover from Wang Zibin's appearance, put away the weapon immediately, and made a metallic sound. Immediately afterwards, the knights reacted and retracted their weapons in a hurry. Then the leader of this camp, the 4th-level Sky Knight Marquez, walked quickly to Wang Zibin, bent over and said with an apologetic smile, "Respected Archmage, we are really honored to have you here." Marquez smiled apologetically while secretly looking at Wang Zibin. As a 4th-order Sky Knight, Marquez has seen a lot of things in the world, and he can recognize that the appearance of Wang Zibin is the displacement of space magic. At the same time, he also knows that space magic is a spell that can only be used by wizards of at least the 6th rank. And with the young face of Wang Zibin he saw, the 6th-level Archmage was already the biggest imagination, as for the higher-level 7th-level Magister, he couldn't even imagine it. In addition, at the beginning, they pointed their weapons at Wang Zibin, which was extremely disrespectful to a 6th-order Archmage. That's why Marcus came forward to greet Wang Zibin in a humble manner. Looking closer now, Marcus is even more impressed by Wang Zibin's noble temperament, appearance. Although Wang Zibin didn't know what Marcus was thinking, he could already guess some of it from the title he called himself Archmage. He mistook me for an Archmage? Wang Zibin, who understood this, immediately relieved his nervousness like an old dog, nodded coldly and asked, "Well, where is this?" Marcus wasn't surprised by Wang Zibin's question at all. In his eyes, Wang Zibin, who holds the sealed product cube in the ancient ruins and came here through space magic, didn't he just come out of the ancient ruins? As for why they came to them, after all, space magic, a little deviation or something, it's normal. So Marcus immediately answered, "Dear Master, this is outside Xingyu City of the Full Moon Empire." Full Moon Empire? Star Moon City? Wang Zibin realized that his wandering the world actually crossed the entire Xingyu mountain range. However, Wang Zibin is very satisfied with his current position. If he is still in the Starry Empire, he still needs to remain anonymous, but since it is the Full Moon Empire, Wang Zibin is safe. Feeling safe, Wang Zibin relaxed even more, and asked more naturally, "I don't know if you have any extra clothes here." As he spoke, Wang Zibin gestured to the robe that was almost turned into rags. "Look, I had a little accident." During the space movement, Wang Zibin used the remaining mana to protect the cube in his hand, causing the clothes on his body to be destroyed by the power of space. As soon as Wang Zibin finished speaking, Marcus nodded and said, "Yes, yes." While arranging for someone to get the clothes, Marcus said thoughtfully, "Respected Archmage, it's getting late now, why don't you take a rest at this camp?" For such a discerning invitation from Marcus, Wang Zibin had no choice but to agree, "Then I will trouble you." In this way, Wang Zibin put on new clothes and stayed in the camp. That night, when Wang Zibin was sitting cross-legged in meditation, the other knights had no mood to sleep, and they started talking about Wang Zibin quietly. "My God, Archmage! I heard from the boss that he is still a 6th order Archmage." "Really? I think he is so young, younger than me." "Hey, I want to eat farts, what's wrong with maintaining a good appearance for a mage of this level? This is the first time I have seen a 6th order Archmage so closely." "Who isn't?" After explaining to his knights, Marcus sat directly a few meters away from Wang Zibin, assuming he was on guard for Wang Zibin. It seemed that Marcus was on guard, but actually he started to plan in his heart, "A 6th order Archmage who had some accidents, this must be the biggest opportunity I have encountered in my life. Marcus, oh Marcus, you must seize this opportunity. For the rest of my life, I will eat hot food or drink spicy food. It depends on whether I can get on the lap of this 6th order great mage." In the morning, when Wang Zibin opened his eyes, Marcus rushed forward with a stride, ready to serve Wang Zibin. Wang Zibin naturally refused Marcus' service. After a simple morning meal, the temporary camp was dismantled, and a group of knights escorted Marcus and Wang Zibin in the center and headed for Xingyu City. During this period, Marcus courted Wang Zibin in various ways. He not only introduced information about Xingyu City to Wang Zibin, but also asked Wang Zibin to let him follow him, as if he was saddling Wang Zibin. Such a gesture made Wang Zibin somewhat familiar. After thinking about it for a while, Wang Zibin remembered, "Isn't this Yu Figuang's dogleg posture?" Not to mention, Wang Zibin is not happy with Li Xing's dogleg Yu Figuang, but he is very pleasing to his own dogleg Marcus. Cough, I can't say that, it should be said that Marcus has a great vision and came to play Wang Zibin. After repeated requests from Marcus, Wang Zibin finally agreed to follow Marcus. After all, Wang Zibin had just arrived in Xingyu City and was unfamiliar with the place, so it must be more convenient to have Marcus by his side. As for whether Wang Zibin can give Marcus what he needs, that is of course possible. Wang Zibin has this self-confidence, and even if the name is not worthy of the name now, it will soon be worthy of the name. Even though Marcus misunderstood Wang Zibin's identity and strength, in Wang Zibin's view, this is an absolutely stable long-term investment. Marcus takes refuge with himself, and will definitely make a profit without losing money. After entering Xingyu City, Marcus dismissed the other knights and followed Wang Zibin alone. These people are a temporary team formed for the purpose of taking care of them when they enter the Xingyu Mountains. Marcus was recognized as the boss because he was the strongest and had the best reputation. Now that they returned to Xingyu City, the temporary team naturally disbanded. Amidst the congratulations of many knights, Marcus returned to Wang Zibin with a happy face. Immediately, Marcus straightened his identity and asked to help Wang Zibin buy the mage's robe. Chapter 47. How to confirm the identity of a mage at first glance. If seeing a mage release a spell with his own eyes is the fastest way to confirm, then the mage's robe is the next confirmation method. Moreover, compared to the former, the latter is the most common confirmation method. Shop for mage robes. Marcus walked in with Wang Zibin. The moment the two entered the door, the owner of the shop took the initiative to come out from behind the counter to greet them. And without any further words from Marcus, the shop owner found the rightful owner Wang Zibin and started recommending mage robes. As for why the shop owner is so discerning, I have to mention the image of Wang Zibin. Just as Marcus regarded Wang Zibin as a great mage at first sight, anyone who sees the slender, extraordinary temperament, and extremely handsome Wang Zibin will know that this is a standard mage. Although because of the appearance, the standard seems a bit high. Back then, if Wang Zibin hadn't stayed in the Night Academy all the time, as long as he wore a robe, he would have been recognized as a mage. Even though Wang Zibin is not wearing a robe now, but the casual clothes provided by Marcus, but since he walked into this store, there is naturally a need for it. Anyway, the shopkeeper would never think that Mark Arth, who was wearing armor, wanted to buy mage robes to wear. It's not that you can't buy it, but you can't wear it. In the human empire, the status of the mage is very noble. Any unofficial mage who dares to wear mage robes will be held accountable and dealt with seriously after being found out. The lightest one is also used as a slave, and the general punishment is death. What's more, it depends on whether there is anyone who protects them, and they will be held jointly and severally liable. Therefore, no one would wear mage robes and pretend to be a mage. Under the warm welcome of the store owner, Wang Zibin glanced at the mage robes in the store. Corresponding to the three types of mages, black, white, and grey, the mage robes in the store are generally divided into three types, black, white, and grey. Among them, the white mage robes are the most gorgeous, corresponding to the largest group of white mages. There are relatively few black and grey mage robes, and the patterns are relatively simple, corresponding to black mages and grey mages. Wang Zibin didn't look at the robes of the white mages, because every white mage has been certified by the Mage Association and has clear information. The black mage robes were also not within Wang Zibin's choice. In the human empire, black mages had always had a bad reputation and were not liked by people. So Wang Zibin walked to the area of grey mage robes and started shopping. Seeing Wang Zibin's actions, Marcus showed a clear expression. In his vision, Wang Zibin is either a black mage or a grey mage. Because if Wang Zibin is master by, then it is impossible to look up to him who only has the strength of the 4th level. You know, for the 6th level archmage among the white mages, it is normal to have a 6th level knight following him. Only black mages and grey mages are short of manpower. And compared to the black mage whose acting style tends to be dark, the grey mage who has a bottom line makes Marcus more happy. After Wang Zibin had chosen the grey mage robe, Marcus immediately took out gold coins to pay without Wang Zibin asking. Walking into the fitting room, Wang Zibin directly changed into a grey mage robe. When Wang Zibin and Marcus, who were wearing mage robes, walked on the road, they received more respectful glances than when they were wearing casual clothes. This is the mage. Walking on the street, Xingyu City gave Wang Zibin a completely different feeling from Beixing City. The buildings in Xingyu City are generally taller, and the roads are wider. According to Marcus, this is designed to facilitate the walking of monsters. The Full Moon Empire was founded on monster nights, so most nights would be accompanied by monsters. Compared with the rare monsters in Beixing City, monsters can be seen everywhere in Xingyu City. These magical beasts are all magical beasts that have signed contracts with knights. They have a gentle personality, and generally speaking, they will not hurt people at all. Because once the monster hurts someone, the knight who signed the contract with it will be fully responsible. So even if the monsters in Xingyu City can be seen everywhere, the people who come and go are not worried about their own safety. There are even those who are bold enough to reach out and touch some cute and gentle monsters. Just like now, Marcus casually touched the 3rd-tier monster Langsheng standing next to him, and was greeted with a naive look from Langsheng. Lan Xiang, a Tier 3 warcraft, has a gentle personality and a simple and honest personality. It is one of the excellent choices for warcraft knights to sign a contract. Under the guidance of Marcus, Wang Zibin, who had read about the unique customs of Xingyu City, came to Marcus' residence. This is a small courtyard, and there are 2 servants in the courtyard. Compared with Marcus's status as a 4th-rank Sky Knight, it seems a bit crude. There is no way, Marcus is a loyal person, and every time he leads a team to the Xingyu Mountains, the rewards are also distributed fairly, and he is recognized as a good old man without taking big money. The result of this is that Marcus is actually the one who has been miserable among the Fourth Order Sky Knights. For a long time, Marcus wanted to change, but his personality made him powerless. It was not until the appearance of Wang Zibin that he saw a turning point in his life. "My lord, I'm sorry, my home is a little rough." Marcus showed an embarrassed expression to Wang Zibin. In his perception, such a small courtyard is obviously not worthy of Wang Zibin's status as a Sixth Order Great Mage. But Wang Zibin doesn't think so. He is generally not picky about the environment. So Wang Zibin shook his head and walked into the small courtyard first, expressing his non-critical attitude. On the same day, Wang Zibin officially settled down in Xingyu City. At the same time, because the knights who returned with Wang Zibin were scattered, and through them, it was spread like bragging, or bragging like showing off their experience, a piece of news spread in Xingyu City, a Sixth Order Archmage who knows space magic has come to Xingyu City. If one person said that, not too many people would believe it. But that night, there were about a dozen knights who saw it with their own eyes. Therefore, the strength of this message is still very large. When Wang Zibin fell asleep, he didn't know that his reputation had already spread in Xingyu City. However, no one knew his name, and their description of Wang Zibin was a very noble and handsome Sixth Order Archmage. The spread of such fame gave Wang Zibin a foundation to gain a foothold without knowing it. The next day, after breakfast, Wang Zibin officially started his new life. On the first day, Wang Zibin just purchased the mage's robes and corresponding daily necessities, and had a general overview of the environment in the lower Xingyu City. Today, Wang Zibin needs to plot his own path. The first thing to bear the brunt is the matter of the knight's secret medicine. Wang Zibin, who left Beixing City, needs the knight's secret medicine most now, otherwise the knight's cultivation will be too slow. P.S. 2,000 fresh flowers, thank you for the monthly ticket and the reward. The monthly ticket will be added after it is put on the shelves, and it is currently on the shelves for 11 updates. The 10th update promises to be the first reader who commented and the monthly ticket 1 update, along with the daily request for flowers and evaluation votes. Thanks. Chapter 48. As for the knight's secret medicine, Wang Zibin's original plan was to find a better knight academy after leaving White Star City. But now that he was mistaken for a Sixth Order Archmage, it is naturally impossible for him to join the Knight Academy to study. But this is not a big problem, on the contrary, it is more beneficial to Wang Zibin. Taking advantage of his status as a Sixth Order Archmage, Wang Zibin spoke directly to Marcus. "Marcus, I'm currently researching the subject of Knight's secret medicine. Is there any way for you to get some Knight's secret medicine? It is best to adapt to the 3rd level or above." Hearing Wang Zibin's words, Marcus did not have any doubts, because mages are famous for researching things, and as a 6th level archmage, it is normal for Wang Zibin to study night secret medicine and so on. Marcus thought for a while, and found that he really couldn't get the secret medicine for knights of the 3rd rank or above. The knight's secret medicine is strictly controlled by the academy, and it is definitely impossible for a casual knight like Marcus to get it. Cavaliers usually rely on natural physical exercise, supplemented by other resources, to carry out knight training. Compared with the knight's secret medicine, this method progresses slowly, but it is better than freedom. After thinking about it, Marcus could only say, "My lord, I'm sorry, I need to inquire." Although Marcus has no solution, he wants to show with actions that he can create a solution by himself. Afterwards, Marcus left home and went to inquire. Shortly after Marcus left, Wang Zibin returned to his room. In the room, the most conspicuous thing is the cube. Wang Zibin came to the cube, ready to do it. That's right, now the time is ripe. Wang Zibin decided to break the seal of the cube, and take a look at what is inside the cube that he brought over thousands of miles away. Is it really antique? Or something else? As a cube sealed by an ancient mage, the way to open it is actually very simple: concentrate on mana. Any such sealed cube can be opened automatically as long as the mana infusion reaches the corresponding level. Wang Zibin pressed his hands on the cube and began to pour mana. A minute passed. 10 minutes passed. 20 minutes passed. It wasn't until half an hour later that the mana in Wang Zibin's body was almost empty, and the conditions for the cube to open were not met. This cube is not normal. Wang Zibin is sure. You know, Wang Zibin has 10 times the mana of ordinary mages of the same rank. According to what Wang Zibin learned, Ordinary sealed items can be easily opened with the mana of a second level mage. But it's useless to think too much at this time, anyway, the result will appear in front of Wang Zibin's eyes immediately. As Wang Zibin's mana continued to infuse, the cube like a metal block began to light up from the bottom up. When all the cubes light up dimly, the outermost surface of the cube looks like a metal layer, but in fact, the surface of the sealing spell disintegrates automatically. After a few seconds, the surface of the cube disappeared, revealing what had been sealed inside for an unknown number of years, an egg. If what Wang Zibin saw was not an antique made Wang Zibin happy, then the moment he saw the egg, Wang Zibin was dumbfounded again. Who can tell him, what is the use of an egg that has been sealed for many years? Eat? The point is, even if it is eaten, Wang Zibin has to make sure that the egg has gone bad. Wang Zibin shook his head, took the egg in his hand, and looked at it carefully. This is a very ordinary enlarged version of poultry eggs, which is completely different from the eggs of Warcraft that contain various patterns. Even speaking, it has nothing to do with the legendary powerful monsters and eggs with visions. This made Wang Zibin a little disappointed. But that's right, if it was a monster egg that existed like that, the seal would have been broken by the revealed power long ago, so why wait until Wang Zibin? After confirming the eyes, this is an egg without any magic power. Even so, Wang Zibin did not give up and continued to study. No way, Wang Zibin didn't want to admit in his heart that what he brought over at such a high price turned out to be an ordinary egg. Fortunately, after Wang Zibin studied for a short time, he discovered that the eggs were different. It absorbs mana. Wang Zibin's eyes lit up. What does this mean? It means that this egg may just be the manifestation of the seal. Inside the egg, there are more important things sealed. For example, certain magical treasures. Is this right? Wang Zibin felt relieved. Then, after Wang Zibin recovered his mana, he poured mana into the egg. Until the mana bottomed out again, the big egg in Wang Zibin's hand didn't change at all. But Wang Zibin was not surprised. The seal on the first layer of the cube drained his mana, and the seal on this egg was no more than a lot. That day, until Marcus came back, Wang Zibin stayed in the room, pouring mana into the big egg. "My lord, I found out." Hearing what Marcus said outside the door, Wang Zibin put the eggs that had not changed in any way on the bed and walked out. According to Marcus, after he left here, he contacted his friend who was a teacher at the Star Moon Knight Academy and asked him to ask Xingyu Knight Academy, the best Knight Academy in Xingyu City, a Knight Academy that is far more advanced than White Star Academy. Different from the graduation requirements of the second-level Knight of White Star Academy, the second-level Knight is only the entry threshold of Star Moon Academy. The third-level Knight is the level of most of the students. The fourth-order Knight is its graduation standard. Only the fifth-order Knight is its apex. The fifth-order Knight is already a student of the Knight Academy of the Human Empire, the highest level under normal circumstances. Of course, the cultivation from the fifth-level Knight to the sixth-level Knight is also a process that cannot be ignored. The Knight Secret Medicine of Xingyu Knight Academy also has an effect on the practice of fifth-order Knights, but the practice of Knights is not only the growth of strength, but also the learning of martial arts and other aspects. Therefore, only the top Knight Academy in the capital of the Human Empire can provide such a complete practice. In other words, Xingyu Academy is already second only to the top Knight Academy. When Wang Zibin proposed the third-order Knight Secret Medicine, Marcus thought of the Star Moon Knight Academy. It's just the teacher friend that Marcus said, but it's just an assistant teacher in the Star Moon Knight Academy, and he is the same fourth-level Sky Knight as him. Naturally, Marcus didn't have such a big face, so he asked his friend to ask him. He was in the name of Wang Zibin's sixth-order mage. Therefore, his friend can use this to help inquire about the academy. The result of the inquiry was not bad. The Xingyu Knight Academy paid more attention to the sixth-level Archmage, and was willing to provide third-level and above Knight Secret Medicines in exchange for befriending the sixth-level Archmage. It's just that the share of the secret medicine can only be determined after Wang Zibin personally goes to the academy to talk. To put it bluntly, the Xingyu Knight Academy had to confirm Wang Zibin's identity with their own eyes, and at the same time let Wang Zibin inherit this favor. After listening to Marcus' report, Wang Zibin nodded, and decided to go to Star Moon Knight Academy tomorrow. Chapter 49. Ask, how to pretend to be a 6th-tier archmage with the strength of a 3rd-tier mage. Wang Zibin didn't think about this question until he came to the gate of the Star Moon Knight Academy. Looking at the two 5th-level Sky Knights who greeted him at the gate of the academy, and Marcus' friend, Wang Zibin decided, see tricks and split tricks. However, Wang Zibin did not realize that he was thinking too much until he met Gu Jin, the vice president of the Star Moon Knight Academy, a 6th level Sky Knight, and welcomed him into the living room. It is easier to offend people than to verify the strength of Wang Zibin, a 6th tier archmage, in person. The Star Moon Knight Academy, of course, chose to inquire secretly. After investigation, thanks to the dozen or so knights who saw Wang Zibin stepping out of the crack in space with their own eyes, the Xingyu Knight Academy has already determined Wang Zibin's strength. And the appearance of the vice president of the academy, the 6th Order Sky Knight Gu Jin, proved the sincerity of the Xingyu Knight Academy. To be honest, Gu Jin was shocked when he saw Wang Zibin's face. However, compared to other people's opinion that Wang Zibin has a good face, Gu Jin, who has seen the elves, doubts whether Wang Zibin is an elf in disguise. If you want to choose a race that is most similar to humans, then it must be elves. There are two characteristics that distinguish elves from humans. First, an unusually beautiful appearance. Elves, regardless of gender, have extremely beautiful appearances. Second, pointed ears. Elves have pointed ears, which are said to be easier to hear the sounds of plants. The reason why Gu Jin has this suspicion is because of Wang Zibin's unusually handsome appearance. As for the pointy ears, it's not easy to hide them. But even if Wang Zibin was disguised as an elf, then for the Star Moon Knight Academy, the benefit would be even greater. Therefore, even if Gu Jin guessed something, he would not show it. There is always something wrong with being warm. In the living room, Wang Zibin and Gu Jin were sitting and talking. Standing next to them are two 5th Order Sky Knights, who are the teachers of the academy. The lowest ones present are Marcus of the 4th Order Sky Knight and his friend assistant. Marcus stood behind Wang Zibin, with his head held high, trying his best to act as a guard. He doesn't seem to be looking sideways, but in fact he has already lost his mind. My goodness, Marcus, am honored to be in the same house as these big guys. When did Marcus dare to think that one day he would be able to walk into the gate of the Star Moon Knight Academy, and even enter the living room? It is not an exaggeration to say that even the assistant coach with the lowest status present, the so-called friends, are all the connections made by Marcus. You know, even if he is also a 4th Order Sky Knight, the status of this assistant coach is much higher than that of the miserly Marcus. Not to mention the official teacher of the 5th level Sky Knight, Marcus can't even get a relationship. As for Vice President Gu Jin, this is a big man in Marcus's cognition, sharing the same room or something, I dare not even dream. Hugging Wang Zibin's thigh tightly is the wisest decision Marcus has ever made in his life. If Marcus were to die for Wang Zibin now, Marcus himself felt that there would be nothing wrong with it. Naturally, Wang Zibin didn't know that Marcus had fallen into the highlight of his life at this time. After discussing with Gu Jin, he understood the knight's secret medicine that Xingyu Knight Academy was willing to provide. It is not a problem for the academy to provide the knight's secret medicine, the problem is to determine the amount. If it is a daily dose for one person, Star Moon Knight Academy can provide it for a long time without any conditions. If there are more copies, Wang Zibin will need to submit a formal usage plan due to the strength of the Empire's control over the secret medicine. In this regard, Wang Zibin certainly said that the former is enough for his research, without more troublesome procedures. During the discussion, Wang Zibin also understood that the Empire's strict control of secret medicines, to be precise, is strict on large quantities. And like him, in the name of high-level mage research, it is not that difficult to get a small share, mainly depends on whether the Knight Academies are willing. Gu Jin was even more relaxed after hearing that Wang Zibin was not in great demand. After all, large quantities of Knight secret medicines are not only cumbersome to process, but even the Knight Academy will be held accountable if something goes wrong. As for the small amount, with Wang Zibin's status as a 6th Order Great Mage, there will be no problem at all. Then, the discussion ended in a pleasant atmosphere. At the invitation of Gu Jin, Wang Zibin went to watch the process of the Knight students in the Fan Academy taking the Knight secret medicine. The purpose of this viewing is twofold. One is to let Wang Zibin witness that what Xingyu Knight Academy provided him is genuine Knight secret medicine. Second, deepen the connection with Wang Zibin. As for the deepening method, it can be seen from Wang Zibin's observations of the students taking the Knight's secret medicine. The men are handsome, and the women are beautiful. Anyway, the moment Wang Zibin saw these students, he knew they were definitely selected by Gu Jin. Even Wang Zibin is sure that as long as he proposes to choose followers on the spot, not only Gu Jin will immediately agree, but these students will not be unwilling. Especially the female students, after seeing Wang Zibin coming with Gu Jin's company, they either suddenly increase their movements to make their figure more prominent, or put on a graceful posture to show their most beautiful side. Such a scene almost made Wang Zibin think that he was choosing a concubine. Even Gu Jin's face flashed a look of embarrassment. His prior explanation absolutely did not include this aspect. The only explanation, of course, is that these female students couldn't help themselves after seeing Wang Zibin's beauty. Fortunately, Wang Zibin didn't watch it for a long time, so Gu Jin breathed a sigh of relief. He was afraid that after the female students in his academy practiced, they would fall to the ground, the kind that they couldn't get up without Wang Zibin's help. What Gu Jin didn't know was that the reason why Wang Zibin didn't look at it for a long time was because he confirmed that all the students, including the female students, were at least tier 3 knights. Wang Zibin knew that they might not believe it when he said it. With Gu Jin accompanying him, he probably couldn't even beat a female student. He was just like this, looked up by all the students. Wang Zibin said that he was a little guilty. At the gate of Xingyu Academy, Gu Jin personally sent Wang Zibin out. Obviously, getting along with Wang Zibin was very pleasant, which made Gu Jin very satisfied. Watching Wang Zibin and Marcus go away, Gu Jin thought secretly, it seems that this 6th order great mage is really in trouble. He doesn't even have a high-end vehicle. Should I give him one? But then Gu Jin gave up this idea again, making friends too deliberately and falling into the bottom line. With the knight's secret medicine as a link, the future will be long. Chapter 50. Back in the small courtyard, Wang Zibin entered the room after receiving the package containing the knight's secret medicine from Marcus. In the package of the knight's secret medicine, there is a 1-month dosage for one person. In addition, in order to facilitate Wang Zibin's research, there is also a matching action booklet. According to the results of the negotiation, the Xingyu Knight Academy will send a special person to deliver such a share of the knight's secret medicine to Wang Zibin every month in the future. After Wang Zibin unwrapped the package, he immediately began to take the knight's secret medicine, and then practiced according to the action booklet. Feeling the continuous strengthening of the body, Wang Zibin can't help sighing. Sure enough, the better the secret medicine of the Knight Academy, the better the effect. Compared with the slow improvement of Wang Zibin's 3rd-tier knight by the secret medicine of White Star Academy, what the Star Moon Knight Academy provided was much better. With a better secret medicine, Wang Zibin's knight training finally embarked on a high-speed passage. Wang Zibin didn't go out after the Xingyu Knight Academy and his party. Every day, Wang Zibin's daily life, apart from listening to Marcus introduce some big and small things that happened in Xingyu City during meals, is to lock himself in his room and practice penance. The ascetic life is divided into 3 parts: the mages practice meditation, the knights exercise, and the rest of the time, instill mana into the big egg. This kind of life lasted for more than 20 days. 20 days later, Wang Zibin ushered in his harvest. Sitting cross-legged on the bed, Wang Zibin's increasing with each passing day radiated light in his mind. With the passage of time, new mana was produced, which broke the restriction of the 3rd level mage. Wang Zibin broke away from the level of the low-level mage, and came to a broader world. Breakthrough, Tier 4 Archmage. After consolidating the strength of his 4th-tier Archmage, Wang Zibin took the knight's secret medicine non-stop, and started the knight's breakthrough. Accumulated over time, heaven rewards hard work witnessed by these 2 spells. The power of Wang Zibin's penance surged out of his body, allowing him to break through the restrictions of the 3rd order knight and become even stronger. Breakthrough, Tier 4 Sky Knight. According to good habits as always, Wang Zibin, who broke through to the 4th order knight, didn't stop until he completely absorbed the knight's secret medicine. Wang Zibin stood in the center of the room, feeling the mana surging in his body, as well as the huge power. Today, he broke through the 4th order mage and the 4th order knight at the same time. This means that Master Wang Zibin's practice has reached the same level as that of knights. After slightly relieving the joy in his heart, Wang Zibin sat down again and loaded new spells for his 4th talent mage slot. For the 4th talent spell slot, Wang Zibin has already prepared for it. This is left to his magic practice. After all, for a long time, Wang Zibin has reserved the newly added talent spell slots for the training of the knight's strength. This was deliberately done by Wang Zibin, in order to allow the knight's power to catch up with the mage. Now, in order for the power of mages and knights to go hand in hand, Wang Zibin of course needs to reserve this talent spell slot for mages. Even, for the loaded spell, Wang Zibin is ready. Thousands of miles in a day. Idiom, 1,000 miles a day, it used to describe a horse running fast. The post-metaphor moves extremely fast. Spell thousands of miles in a day, consume stamina and increase mana value, increase speed. Note, this spell requires physical fitness. and it is easy to be exhausted. Thousands of miles in a day, a spell that is not a spell, is the same as multiple results with half the effort. It consumes Wang Zibin's physical strength, and has requirements on Wang Zibin's physical strength. At the beginning, Wang Zibin tried to load thousands of miles in a day, but the sense of danger in his heart made him give up the idea of dying. Now that Wang Zibin, who has broken through to the Fourth Order Knight, can finally use the physical strength of the Fourth Order Knight to load thousands of miles in a day. Today, Wang Zibin has a total of 4 innate spell slots, 2 for spell practice, and 2 for night training. The configuration is reasonable to obtain an extremely fast growth rate. The next day, Wang Zibin felt the great effect of thousands of miles in one day while meditating. After launching thousands of miles, the effect of Wang Zibin's meditation surged. If you use a metaphorical point of view, comparing Wang Zibin's body to a container, then the original increase in mana was sucked with a straw, but now a water pump is installed on the straw, which has increased the efficiency of the increase many times. However, after thousands of miles was activated, Wang Zibin's physical strength also disappeared visibly to the naked eye. Originally, he had the physique of a 4th-tier knight, but he was full of energy. But thousands of miles in a day will drain Wang Zibin's energy a little bit, and will quickly weaken. An hour later, Wang Zibin paled and stopped meditating. Really sucked dry. Feeling his weak body, Wang Zibin smiled wryly. Thousands of miles a day, although it is good, it needs restraint. Moreover, Wang Zibin also discovered that after activating thousands of miles in a day, he could not continue to meditate after his physical strength was exhausted, which meant that he could not reach the maximum meditation time. For mages, the best effect of meditation is to maintain it all the time. Once it is interrupted, it will take more time to re-enter, which is extremely worth the candle. This requires that Wang Zibin needs to use 1,000 miles in a day in the last hour of meditation. At the same time, the implicit requirement brought by thousands of miles is that Wang Zibin must be launched in a safe environment, otherwise his physical strength will be exhausted, and he will not be able to reach the maximum combat effectiveness at all when encountering unexpected situations. All in all, Wang Zibin needs to adjust the time and rules of his practice according to thousands of miles a day. After that, it took a few more days for Wang Zibin to find the most suitable way of cultivation. Originally, Wang Zibin thought that his penance would last for quite a long time, but after the statement spread, he was still missed by people after all. 1 month after Wang Zibin settled down in Xingyu City, an invitation letter from the Xingyu City Mage Association came to Wang Zibin's hands. Looking at the gorgeous invitation letter in his hand, the message of the Masters Association appeared in Wang Zibin's mind. The Mage Association, the largest unofficial organization in the human empire, is located in all human cities. All white mages must be certified by the Mage Association. And in every human city, the Mage Association has considerable power, because they have powerful and diverse powers. For every mage in the city, the Mage Association cannot be ignored. Because the Mage Association has the law enforcement power granted by the Empire to the mages. That is, once it is confirmed that a certain mage has committed a crime, the Mage Association will take action to arrest the mage. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel so you are notified of future uploads. You can find the next parts in the playlist visible on the screen or on my channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.